I forget. All right, so ready. All right. So Ifeoluwa Emmanuel Bamigola graduated in 2017. Listen, guys, he recently just graduated with a second-class upper division from the Department of Microbiology, Obafemi Awolowo University, Osun State, Nigeria. Great Ife. Okay. Anyways, between the year 2017 and 2020, he was a science teacher where he used his influence to impact the lives of younger generation on how to live a purposeful and goal-driven life. Emmanuel moved to the United Kingdom in January 2020, right before the pandemic, to pursue his master's degree in biomedical sciences at Nottingham Trent University in Nottingham. He is on course of graduating in the top 2% of his class. His research interest in understanding the pathophysiology of infectious diseases, thus providing a framework for the development of novel therapeutic interventions. Emmanuel joined the Cambridge Center for Complement and Inflammation Research, University of Cambridge, get this so, as a research assistant in January 2021. So he's getting his master's degree and he's also working as a research scientist at the University of Cambridge. Wow. Under the Human Immune Correlates of COVID-19 Consortium, HICC. Their current study is focused on the body's immune response to SARS-CoV-2 to bridge the current gap in knowledge of humoral immune response to SARS-CoV-2 infection. Two of his co-authored papers from the ongoing research is currently in the pipeline of being published. Ifeoluwa Emmanuel will also be joining the Rosalind Franklin Laboratory, the NHS Test and Trace Laboratory as a part-time lab scientist in August 2021 to play his part in the continuing fight against COVID-19. Come on, you guys. This is somebody that just moved to the UK last year. Hey, clap for Emmanuel. Come on, let's give it up. See, Daniel said, oh, for. You guys, okay, let me be serious. I'm very serious. I'm actually a serious person. All right. Are you guys seeing this? You see how this is why it's very important for you to be able to not just travel out of the country because of traveling out, right? You need to be able to plug yourself. Some people just go, they want to get their master's degree. They're just like, oh, I'm going to get my master's degree. And they just get the master's degree and they're gone. What did Emmanuel do between 2020 and now that he's doing his master's? He's working at University of Cambridge. Oh, you guys, he's not in one place. He's at University of Cambridge working as a research scientist. NHS is also calling him left, right, and center, asking him to come and work. What did Emmanuel do in that same UK that other people have gone to and they left? What did Halima do in that same Ireland that other people have come and they've left? That is making them, do these fantastic things. These are things we're going to learn. Remember, don't be close-minded. You never can tell. There might just be an opportunity that is fantastic for you in a place that you're not looking for. I gave you guys an example of a lady, again, who had been trying the US for years. And all of a sudden, she told me, she just seriously messaged me that she has gotten a research position in Germany. They're going to pay for her flight, her ticket, her research. They're even going to take her on a tour in Germany before she starts her research. So you guys, don't be close-minded. Be open to these opportunities. Hear them out. If what they say is making sense to you, then you can be like, okay, I think that, it might be relatively easy for me. Let me, explore the route that Emmanuel went through or Halima went through. So we're going to get started immediately. After this, they've agreed to also get into breakout rooms with you. But what we're going to do this time around is we're not going to separate them. I'll just put the both of them in one breakout room and everybody, we're only 28. Everybody will be there. You can unmute, you can ask your questions for 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're going to call it a day. So let me spotlight Emmanuel and Halima for everybody. Then we can start. All right, perfect. So are you guys ready for my question? All right, let's do this. I always like to ask this question of everybody that comes here because I feel like it's important for them to know that what they're doing is important, right? You know, for instance, Halima, I'm going to keep hammering on this. Halima is doing something called food science and technology. A lot of people might not see that as important, but if you think about it from a health perspective, what she's essentially doing is she's trying to reduce the salt concentration in sausages so that at the end of the day, by replacing some of the ingredients that are there, so that at the end of the day, when sausages start going out into the marketplace, people are not consuming salty food that will end up giving them hypertension. So even if she's not in the lab trying to find a cure to hypertension and hypertension mostly, or heart attack, she's doing something. She's changing the diet of people so that at the end of the day, the food that they are consuming is not even going to predispose them to hypertension. Do you see the big picture of where you fit into now? Think about it. It does not matter if you're a veterinary scientist or if you're a biotechnologist. It doesn't matter. One way or the other, it's so important to the lives of people. Last week, we heard John telling us that without you, a lot of other sectors in the world are not going to function. So I just want you guys, Emmanuel and Halima, to validate us once again, right? Why is I want you to tell us why you continued with your bio degree. You could have easily switched, you could have gotten an MBA or whatever, but you did not. Is it that you like biology that much, or more than everybody else that went to IT or whatever? Did you just get a master's degree just because, and you were just going with the flow and trying to figure it out? Be honest with us. Like, why is it that you remained? Is it that they're paying you well? Like, what's like? Just tell us. Like, tell us. Be honest with us, please. Why is it important for us to remain? Manuel, you can go.
Okay, so ladies first.
Okay.
So I spent 4 years in uni studying microbiology. Like, backstory, how I got into microbiology in the first place. Like, it was a random day. My brother and I went to Babcock. We bought the form. I was meant to fill the form there and submit it there and there. And I had a list of courses to choose from. It's not something that I thought of and I knew what I wanted to do from a while back. I just went there because all the options did not, fall through for me. And I had the options were either biochemistry or microbiology, and I just chose microbiology just because it sounded nice. And I started off, my first year was a breeze. It was basic chemistry, biology, and all of that. So I had no idea what I was in for. Then my second year, they started introducing us to like the major microbiology terms and all of that. And I was like, do I really like this? I'm like, well, I'm just going to do this and pass. We just have to graduate. The aim was just to pass and graduate. I had no vision ahead of that. And I think it was my second year that I was like, oh, we're doing this. Third year, fourth year. Fourth year we had the project that everybody has to do, and I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do. So I had my supervisor. I spoke to my supervisor about the project I wanted to work on. He was interested in it because I brought up the idea, which most professors and supervisors like, bring up your own ideas. And we worked on it, and it was quite interesting because I had positive results at the end of the day. And I realized that there's actually something in science. We watch a lot of sci-fi movies. We see these things, like, they happen. Like, science is real. And I'm like, science is so, I fell in love with microbiology, especially food microbiology. I don't like food that much, but I fell in love with food microbiology. I fell in love with food research, and it made a lot of sense to me because I could relate directly. Like, this is what we see on our table every single day. We see the mold growing on our bread every day. Do you understand? Like, we see our food go bad. It's something I could relate to directly. And I'm like, why not just go ahead, get a master's degree? That was like the only option I had at that point, get a master's degree in food microbiology, because I'm like, I like this food microbiology that much. And I realized that even if my research is going to be 1% relevant in the industry or to society, it is something, that 1% is significant. You have no idea. Before I started my PhD, and when I saw the research area, I'm like, sausages, seaweed, really? You guys, really? But I did my research further, and from what yesterday said, like, I knew that it wasn't just seaweed and sausages. It was way, 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 way beyond that. And I could obviously take these skills and take it into somewhere else, I relate it somewhere else. So I'm like, science is for me, it is what I wanted to do, it is what I want to do. And I decided to stay. Like, the opportunities for me here, why not?
Guy, or for that's the main thing. There are opportunities for you. You know, it does not matter what your research, and that's what some people don't know, is that it does not matter what your primary research is. With science, you can go very, very, very far. So you see that a lot of people that are going away somehow is still going to link back to science. That's why I love it here, because we can, with my PhD now, there's nothing that I literally cannot do. If I decide that I want to stop science and I want to go to consulting, I can do that. So science is so important. But I'm a health person, so I'm not going anywhere. Emmanuel, what about you? Why is it so important? What's the relevance of science in the society? Why should we stay? Why should they not go and work for Google? You can work for Google, by the way, oh, as a science person, just saying.
All right, similar to what Alima said, just like many science students from secondary school want to end up becoming a medical doctor and medical doctor, nurses, and all. Yeah, I applied for in the U back in 2011, but I was fortunate enough not to get into medicine. I don't know how my life would be now, just being a medical doctor. So yeah, I had opportunity to choose between microbiology and biochemistry also. So I was like, microbiology still sound like biology. So I went for microbiology also. And yeah, everything down to the time we start microbiology, then I realized, okay, I love this. I perform better in this part, better than just physical sciences and all. So this is what actually prompts my desire to continue in biology field, and also for during our research, like final year project. Yeah. You know, I just love being in the lab. Like I love putting this together, put this together. Even if I'm not seeing anything today, let me see it tomorrow. Like I put in so much effort there during that period, and I had a good not my supervisor directly, like good master student that actually tutors them, like, this is how you want to go about your research, answer a question. Though it might be something someone have done before, yeah, but do it again, see it. Like, then I realized, okay, this is actually fulfilling. You are doing something, you're seeing the results, and you can be bold of it. Like, yeah, this is what I did back then. This is what I'm doing. This is my result. Yes, to come, you can tell your children, like, okay, this is what I've added to the world, to the science community. So this one of the things that actually prompts my stay in biology. You know, back at home, you see people telling you, oh, microbiology is rubbish. Like a lot of things, like microbiology is rubbish, like school na scam. But at the end of the day, now not everybody would be a business tycoon. Okay. But there are a lot of business tycoon out there, people don't really care. But you being a scientist, you have so much to give. You have so much to give outside. Like you have things to do. Like years to come, people will be able to see, this man actually did this man did. So something like that actually wants to stay, like not MBA, nothing. And during my study in OAU also, I realized that, okay, I'm inclined to the medical aspect of microbiology. This prompts, okay, my master's degree in biomed. So that's why I stayed. Like I'm doing something I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy doing it. Not because other people are doing it. So many people will say, yeah, I should get the MBA, do this, because people are doing it. So you don't have to follow the crowd. You have to do what will make you happy and what you get fulfillment from. As it for me.
Thank you so much. That's like, it's so important, because I told you guys about a survey that I did in January, and I just like wanted to get the feel for what people felt about their degree and how, if they were afraid about it and things like that. And I would hear people telling me that they were scared that they would end up as secondary school teachers. And I was like, no, you've got to see beyond what, the narrative of the circumstances that are surrounding you, which is why highlighting all these things to you, right? We're showing you Emmanuel on the left and Halima on the right, and we're telling you that it's possible. It's not for a select few, it's not for smarty panties, it's for everybody. Like, you can literally become, if you want to be a secondary school teacher, great. But if you don't want to be a secondary school teacher and you want to be the head of CDC one day, you can do it. That's the truth. So don't feel like your degree is worth nothing. Nothing. It's absolutely, absolutely important. So we're just going to go straight to the point now. And before we start talking about the nitty-gritty, I want you, Halima and Emmanuel, to sell going to UK to me. I'm an undergraduate, I'm a recent graduate. How, how do you mentor me to, to explore going to graduate school in the UK or in Ireland? Should I come to UK and Ireland? What is the admission processing like? When should I start? Is it a rolling cycle admission? What are the primary requirements? Do I need to take any exams? Do I need to take any English test? What would you advise me as a final year student? Do I need to get a job? Do I need skills? Would I get a scholarship? Can I get a monthly stipend? Do I have to pay my school fees? What are all these things? So that I can start checking it off their list and they can say, nah, 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 nah. I'm not going to UK, or no, or yes, I'm going to Ireland. What are all those things? If I want to do a PhD, Kalima, do I need to get a master's degree first? Or can I just go straight from my bachelor's into a master's degree program? What are all those nuances? Emmanuel, if I want to, if I want to get a tuition fee waiver, do schools offer me that, or do I have to get a scholarship on the outside? Like, what are those things that I need to start doing now if, I have been struggling to get into graduate school, and, and you can tell me of, of a way that I can do it to come to the UK to get my graduate degree and be very successful. Not just get my graduate degree and just have the certificate like that, because one thing that we know is that doing what you do with that degree is more important than the degree itself. So how do I position myself in a way that when I get the degree, I'm going to be very marketable, so that by the time I finish, people in Germany are looking for me, people in Nigeria are finding me, people in UK, US, Asia, they're looking for me. So please walk us through all the requirements for getting into graduate school in Ireland and in UK. Halima, will start with you. You guys are taking notes. Start taking notes. So when should
I advise anybody to do is, as soon as you graduate, get your transcript ready. Like, your transcript is not going to change after you graduate, so you can as well have it on hand, because I believe the only thing you have to do with your transcript is to upload it online. You don't necessarily have to get it from your school directly, unlike the US, where the school and West have to send it to them is straightforward. They might just have to, maybe call the school to confirm the transcripts, and that has nothing to do with you.
So and unofficial transcripts, they're okay with using unofficial transcripts?
Yeah, I used my unofficial transcripts. I didn't have to go through backup or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge. And I think the minimum is a 2-2 or maybe a third class. And I'll say apply as soon as the applications open. I believe applications open October, November, December-ish. First come, first serve. Whoever applies first gets the seats. And if your results are so good, you can get like discounts, like 10% discount, 20% discounts, 1,000 euro off your fees. Like, these things are important. I did not know them. It was when I came in here and I met a classmate of mine. She told me she got 10% off. I said, why? I said, because she had a 2-1. I'm like, I had a 2-1 too. But I applied earlier as well. So I don't know how they choose it. I know it's first come, first serve. I can't even say it's first come, first serve, to be honest, because I applied the year before and I deferred my admission for a year. So I'm like, who can easily the 10%? So I'll just apply early as possible to get these discounts, which can be helpful because you have to pay fees. I really don't know much about scholarships. I was telling you today that I don't know much about scholarships, but it's something that we can go through Google searches together to find something. I've never really started to go through scholarships. Like, I was that lazy. I wish I knew a lot then. I didn't bother to even check for scholarship, but I wish I did, because it could have helped a lot, because I had to defer my admission for a year because of financial reasons. Then I advise you to do IELTS. Some schools will tell you to do IELTS, some wouldn't. But personally, I advise you to, because it will increase your chances. Once they see you have IELTS, they won't ask any other questions concerning English. We all can speak English, we can write English, like, just do the exam. You might need the IELTS results as well for your visa application, so it's best just do it once and for all. And recommendation letters from your undergrad professors, supervisors, whoever. Application fee is usually 50 euro for most schools in Ireland. It could be 100 euro depending on the course you're applying for. And once you get your conditional letter, like you can go ahead to apply for your visa. Like visa is like, for me, visa was like the major thing. I had no idea about it. I didn't want them to refuse me my visa. If they had refused me my application from the school, which is UCC, it was easier for me to contact them and ask why and try maybe to apply again or something. So the visa application was a big deal. I had to look for someone that had gone through the process, before to talk to, which is very important for you to make connections. I had nobody. My brother had to find a friend of a friend that's, applied for the visa a year before, who helped me, who told me how to write my letter, who told me to do everything, like cross my T's and dot my I's. Don't make any mistake. Don't give them a reason to question you. Even with all of that, they still came back with questions for me, which were reasonable, and it was fair enough. At least they didn't just reject me based on that. They told me to, provide them with further documents. And what other question you usually ask me?
So can they go directly from bachelor's to PhD?
Oh yes, like I don't think any school would ask for master's for a PhD. Like I don't think so. It might be the professor that just wants someone with a master's degree, that someone with a little bit of experience, so they don't have to spend so much time, training you. And from my own experience, like our backstory, how did I get my PhD? Maybe that would, answer all the questions at once. After my master's degree, I worked as a research assistant in the same department, which I got the research assistant through my master's supervisor.
Wait. Before we get there, so you've told us now that it's a fairly easy process. First come, first serve.
Yeah.
First serve. We don't need to write any professor or anything, but we do need to have tuition. If you're not able to pay your tuition, then you best go and follow Aaron. Aaron is the scholarship king. Go and follow him and figure out, because he also went to the UK, tuition free. Go and follow him and figure out how to get a tuition so that you tuition waiver or scholarship so that you can go to school in the island. But I want to ask you, Halima, because even if you get a scholarship or even if you are paying your tuition, you still have to be able to pay your bills. You pay your rent, right? You pay your telephone bills. You have to buy your groceries. Is it legally allowed for me as an international student to work while I'm going to school, even whether I'm paying my tuition or I got a scholarship? Can I work? Because you said so. The reason I asked this is you said that you got a job as a research scientist. So I'm just
okay, that was after my master's. But while I was still a student, you're entitled to work, I think 20 hours a week. That's the max you can do. And there are jobs you can do out there. Like it doesn't have to be related to your field. Like they're looking for people to do all sorts of jobs. As long as you put food on your table, you pay your bills and all. There are jobs like it's 20 hours. I had these are the things, like I wish I had people to talk to then. When I came here, there were, no lots of Nigerians, Africans around me to ask this question. So I had no idea. I did not get a job. I tried to apply so many places. I tried to apply online, but applying online works, but is from someone that you eventually get. Most people that I know that got jobs afterwards, that's how it works. People referring other people for jobs. So building connections is very, very, very important. I can't overemphasize on it. Like build connections, talk to people, make friends. Yeah, I did not make friends. Like I did not know
this job thing. Maybe from what you're even saying, I'm even guessing that even on campus employment, they can be able to get on campus employment. They don't know that while they're still doing their job, especially. And I know that we might touch on that a little bit, but we touched on that on the first webinar. We taught masters and research masters. They can do an internship. Maybe they might get lucky and get paid, and Manuel can take us through that as well. But I just wanted to double check that it was okay, because different countries have different rules, and they will tell you that no, you're an international student, you're not working, you're supposed to be defend for yourself. So I just wanted to double check that.
Just to clear that, like the only people that are not allowed to work are people that come here to study English, and I think their visa is restrictive. They are not allowed to work. But if you're coming here for undergrad or a master's or a PhD, you're entitled to work for 20 hours a week during school period, but during holidays, you're entitled to work 40 hours a week.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so now tell us how, for those people that have bachelors and they want to get PhD, because that's another thing. People are like, when they hear, oh, you have a PhD in cell and molecular biology, master's in what? I'm like, I don't have a master's degree. Why do I need a master's degree? Like they don't know that the whole point, PhD is a terminal education, right? You don't need to prove to anybody beyond that terminal degree that you know what you know. It's like you're jumping. So if I don't need a master's degree, why am I even going to get it anyways? What do I need it for? So that's what a lot of people need to. They are boxed in that ideology of there's a certain way things have to be done. You have to go from bachelor's to master's to PhD. You can easily skip and just get a PhD.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even blame them. I thought the same until I came here and I was exposed. I met people doing PhDs without master's degrees, and I was like, is that a thing? It is a thing. So exposure is another thing that I would emphasize on, like ask questions, read random stories on LinkedIn. People are writing these things on there, it's everywhere. So it is very, very possible. But personally, I had a master's degree, which helped me get my PhD. What a master's degree can do for you is to increase your chances. You already know that you know these things, you have experience in these things, you know, they trust you to some extent. Do you understand what I'm trying? Especially if you're in the same lab. So it will increase your chances, yeah, but it's not a necessity.
Ade Juwon asks a very important question. He says that, and he's an undergrad, but it's important for us to be able to clarify these things. He says, how about the things that they teach you during your master's program? Won't I miss certain skills and knowledge if I go from, Emmanuel, do you want to jump on that? If I go from, I can touch on that as well. If I go from undergrad to PhD, he's basically asking, is he going to struggle? I can answer that question based on my experience in the US, but Emmanuel, do you have any idea about what he's asking?
All right. Thank you, Adejuwon. Now, imagine you are moving from, let's say, study zoology, and you have your master's in cell and molecular biology. Okay, it's a master's program, but your BSc is actually all you learn throughout your BSc is about animals. Now you're dealing with molecular biology, cell biology. Okay, there are two different things. If you won't struggle studying cell and molecular biology, definitely you won't struggle going from BSc to PhD. Let me give you an example. Let me use myself as an example. I studied microbiology. I came here for biomed. Okay, definitely it will take you some time to adjust. Adjustments will take time. Okay, I remember the first class I attended when I got to the UK. I was like, okay, wait a minute, what are these people talking about? Like, just all these medical terms. Okay, all I knew back from Nigeria is E. coli, all the time, you know. But now I get there to start mentioning some terminologies. Now this will help you to actually sit down. Okay, so after the first class, I think the first class I ever had to sleep, like I'm having headache. But after the class, after the class, I went back home like, yes, I'm here already and I must make it. So definitely you put in more effort. Okay. Now you have to adjust to that. And within weeks, I realized that, okay, I started to tell my friends, like, okay, this is what they're saying in class, this is what they're saying in class. So that will actually give you a sense of belonging, like, okay, these people are here, they are not better than me, I can do this. So, it's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. Like, yes, I'm doing this. No, and one thing that I did want, many people have done it in the past, okay, from BSc to PhD. So you can do it also.
You make a very good point, Emmanuel, where you have to be able to, if you are going for a PhD program, and again, this is talking about the fact that it depends on what you are doing. If you are jumping from veterinary science to STEM cell research, it's a whole world of things. So yes, it might be important for you in that case to get a master's degree, so that you can start getting all those knowledge that you didn't really have in undergrad. So the way it works for me, or the way it worked for me in the US, is for a PhD, it's all about research. It's not about, oh, what are you, it's, 20% that, 80%, 20% thought knowledge, like what they're teaching you in coursework, 80% research. So the way it works is, if you get admitted to a PhD program, to start working with an advisor, they look at your transcript and they look at the courses that you've taken. So for instance, my microbiology transcript was really heavy on almost everything. In microbiology, I think we took zoology, right? We took zoology, we took immunology, even though we're not immunologists, we took immunology. We took biochemistry. we had like a breath. We took chemistry, we took physics and all of that. So we had a breath of, so my advisor basically took my transcript and said, okay, you've taken these courses. Then they begin to suggest to you what courses. Remember, it's 80%, they are paying you for US now specifically. They want to be able to use you for that particular research that they've hired you for. So for instance, as they get to know you more and more, if you're, for instance, I got admitted to do cancer research. Cancer has a lot to do with immunology. When my advisor at the time looked at my transcript, I think I had a B, a low B or a high C or something in immunology. She said to me that your immunology is a little bit weak. I need you to touch up on it. Do you understand what I'm saying, Adejuwon? So she enrolled me, or she she suggested to me to enroll in an immunology class to have a refresher, right? So this is how it works. Your advisor knows you, they know your weak points, they know where your project is going to, they know, they can start testing your knowledge and start saying, you're a little bit weak in this. I need you to go and take a refresher course, even though you took it in your undergrad. So I want you to know that if you're going from an undergraduate to a PhD program around the same area, so you did cell and molecular biology as an undergrad, and you're doing a cell and molecular biology program as a PhD, you may still, while you're doing your PhD, you still get the opportunity to take all those refresher classes where you now begin to learn the way these people learn and all of that. So it's not like, oh, they're teaching you something different in masters. No, or it's not different. It's almost the same thing. You're only refreshing, maybe to a higher degree, where you now start, it's not more theoretical knowledge of what you're reading in textbooks anymore. It's now about research. So in most PhD classes, you start reading papers. It's not more about, oh, E. coli is aerobic, is an aerobic microorganism, and all of that. You start reading papers. Why is it aerobic? What are the things within the cell that governs its ability to be able to need oxygen if there is no oxygen present? So this is, it's not like they're teaching you something different in masters. I just want to point that out to you, that if you go from bachelor's to PhD, don't worry, it is tailored. For me, it was tailored to me. So we took the classes that were important for my research project. I took deeper pathogenic, I took high-level pathogenic microbiology because that's what I was dealing with. I was working with a pathogenic microorganism. I took deeper statistics classes. I took deeper immunology classes that my professor had already studied me, and he knew that, today you're weak in this area. I need you to take a refresher course. So I just wanted to clarify that because it's such an important question.
Yeah, is it okay if I just say a few things again today? So in my own case as well, like I moved from microbiology into food science and technology. I only knew microbiology. So I had so many things I needed to learn. Reading wasn't enough. So my supervisor also suggested that I take a couple of classes. I took sensory science. I took meat science. These are the things I was working on directly. I could only read so much, so little rather, and I needed to go for, I went to the classes with undergrad students,
Yeah.
So you're not really missing much. Like they'll train you. They trained me in the lab as well. Like I had a master's, they still trained me. I still went for classes. So you're not missing much, to be honest.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I also went to classes with undergrads and I was a PhD student. So when my advisor suggested to take an immunology class, I was the only PhD student. Everybody was an undergrad. So they're teaching you the same thing, literally. So it's not like, oh, masters, they're teaching you something different. That's the ideology people have. It's not, it's
or so, PhDs, all that.
Like, it's maybe a little bit. So the way that they graded me as a PhD student that I was taking classes with an undergrad was they gave me higher level assignments. So maybe they're telling undergrad students to write a 1-page paper. My advisor will tell me to write 5 pages, to read this paper, to write a summary about a particular. So they will give you higher level assignments because you're a PhD student. So that's
mine was the same, funny enough.
It was the same for
like
you?
Mine was, it was the same. I wrote the same exams as them.
So you make a great point. Okay, Halima, now tell us. Sorry, we've again gone to different countries, but it's so important for people to be able to know these things.
Yeah.
Tell us how to transition from bachelor's to, master's to PhD. You said something about you got a job after you graduated.
Yeah.
So can we get a job if you come to Ireland?
Yes, you can. Like if you're entitled to 2 years postgraduate visa if you come here for a master's or a PhD. And the good thing about that is that if after your first 2 years is up and you go for a higher degree, you're entitled to another 2 years. So for instance, like I've used during my time, it was 1 year, they just increased it 2 years a few years ago. So lucky you. And after my first year, I used my 1 year postgraduate visa to work as a research assistant. And I went on to do a PhD, which I'm still doing now. So if I decide, after my PhD, I still want to stay in Ireland, which I will, I will. I'm entitled to the 2 years postgraduate visa, which is very, very good. And I think they know what they're doing as well. Like don't just want you to come here to get the degree and go back to your country. They want to use you as well. So I will be used. I don't care. Use me. Use me very well.
They let them use you, but you also need to use them too. And
Definitely.
that's another thing
I mean, they think they're using me. Let them think like that, which is okay. Fine. I'm okay. So after my master's degree, I was looking for a job aggressively. I applied to loads of jobs. I was like, I'm going into the industry. I'm going to be a quality person, quality assurance. I applied aggressively. Then I had 0 friends at that point because I'm like, I'm just coming here, study, get my first class, get a job, focus on my life, be successful and all that. Cool story, Halima. I was looking for a job. So at the bus stop, I randomly met another Black girl. I'd been seeing her in the department a couple of times. I was so shy to say hello. She was so shy as well to say hello to me. And I eventually, built up the courage. I said hello to her. I was like, how are you? What department? And I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And I'm like, straightforward. I wasn't shy. I'm like, I'm looking for a job. Do you think your supervisor has like any? See, I was desperate. When you're broke, you don't do anything. I said, do you think your supervisor has any opening? And all of that. My supervisor, the person I worked with for my master's research doesn't have any opening. I said, oh, that she will ask him. She will ask, indirectly, so my supervisor can speak to him on my behalf.
Are you guys hearing this? Word of mouth will take you far. It's not only by, let me apply online. You talk to people. If there's somebody in the school, if I was to do my application all over again, Halima and Emmanuel, to prevent those 7 denials that I got, I will look for people that are going to school in the US, in certain schools. Those are the schools I will apply. I will write to them and I'll ask them, please, do you know of any opening? I'm not just going to throw my application out randomly, because having people as a resource will help you. They have the capability to go and say, to go and ask the professor directly, are you looking for any student? So what you said is so important. I just wanted to highlight. Sorry.
So she came back to me. I was like, oh, the project she's working on, they have funding for a research assistant. And I'm like, cool. So I went back to my supervisor at that point and I'm like, I think this guy has money. Please, their offices were closed, like they were sharing almost the same door. I'm like, can you please speak on my behalf to see if he has any opening for me? And he went ahead and he said, oh, yes, he does. Send your CV to him. Just like that.
Wait, I sent my CV to him. I want to highlight on that again, because people go, you did a third master's degree, but you were having a very good relationship with your advisor to the point where you were able to go to his office, ask him to speak on your behalf so that you could get a job. Please help us and hammer that out, because people
backstory. See, I was just
like,
people
get my master's distinction. When I finish with distinction, the sky is my limit. It's a lie. It's a big lie. It's not about that. How did you, it's so important for them to know that they need to develop a good relationship with their professors in school, because after you graduate, you want to do anything immigration, you want to go to Canada, you want to go to anywhere, they are the ones that will still write recommendation letter for you. And these are not recommendation letters like the ones in Nigeria that they just be like, this student is good, they studied in 4 years, I have confidence in them. No, they have to be able to be, when my advisor writes a recommendation letter for me, I'm almost in tears. Like, it's like he knows me. Like, anybody that reads that recommendation letter will be moved to give me a job. So please highlight that to them as well, that, don't just go get a master's, pay your tuition, I'm getting a distinction, who is not going to hire me? CDC is going to be looking for me with my distinction. No, people have to write for you, people have to vouch for you. So how are you able to do that as a third master student? Because third masters, you don't even get the ability to talk to your professors. How did that work out?
So, well, we had the opportunity to choose our supervisors for our master's project and whatever research wanted. They gave us a list and they said submit, professional, I think top 3 that you wanted, and they'll give you whichever one suits you. And I went through the list. I definitely prayed over it. And obviously, like the top supervisors in the department, a lot of students wanted to work with them. I want to work with this guy, I want to work with that guy. I looked through the list. I didn't even look at the names. I looked at the research, like what was focused on. And I saw probiotics. I'm like, probiotics sounds cool. Everybody is researching on probiotics. Like at that point, probiotics was a thing, And I'm like, I really like to do this. Even if it said chicken fitness, I was going to work with chicken pool. I was like, cool, I'll block my nose. What's the worst that can happen? And I decided to choose. I looked at this professor, this supervisor. I'm like, this guy, I've taught us once. It sounded very slow, dull. Am I sure I can work with this guy? I'm like, just work. He had just one spot. And I'm like, it's just going to be me. I'll have all this attention. Gets it's going to spend all this time on me. Like, it is me, only me. So I decided to, put that as my first. I don't think I even put the second or third, to be honest, but that was what he gave because nobody wanted to work with him. I'm sure I was the only one I didn't put him on my list. So I got the opportunity to work with him. He was a very nice guy. I didn't know anything. I couldn't even do PCR at that point. The PCR they taught us during my master's, I missed the class. Imagine I missed lab during my master's. I missed the PCR class. I had no idea on how to do PCR. He taught me PCR from the beginning. I understood every single thing. Like he had the time, Monday to Friday, we were both in the lab. So imagine the kind of attention I got. Imagine the kind of conversations we had. We gisted about so many things. I just told him about Nigeria. It was so intrigued. You understand? We built a relationship. We had that rapport. So when I was sending in my drafts, even if I was writing, my first draft was trash. He corrected it with so much sympathy. Like it was so nice. So the fact that I was his only student, he had no choice but to be friends. And I was a very, very good student. I still am a very good student. I still saw myself. So that was how we built the relationship, that I could actually walk up to him to say, I am looking for a job. Can you please refer me? And he said, yes, I can refer you. I'd worked with other researchers in the department and they always go back to him to say, oh, this girl is a very good girl. Am I? Yes, apparently I was. So he saw me as, the people in the department saw me as a very good student. So it was easy for him to recommend me, and it was so easy for the other guys to be like, just send your CV. Let me see, send your CV for sending CV sake, apply for the role. The role wasn't put up for publication initially. It was when he realized that he could employ somebody.
They will now advertise it. Now, let me tell you guys another thing that you don't know. This is exactly what happened. So we had an undergrad that was working in my lab, Sancherma. She was a very great undergrad student. She had a transition period. She graduated in April and she was going to start graduate school in August, which meant that she was out of a job. She couldn't get paid. So my advisor had money and was like, okay, Sancherma, we can get you a job in the department during your transition period between April and September and August, so that you'll be able to pay your bills and all that and all that and all that. But guess what? They cannot just hire her like that, because now she's no more a student. She has become she's now like someone who is looking for a job. My advisor ordinarily was not looking for a job, but because they needed to give her a job, they had the legal responsibility to advertise it. So the job already had Sancherma's name on it, but they had the legal responsibility to say, we are looking for somebody as a research assistant to work for 4 months on this project. You should be able to do PCR. You should be able to work these many hours a week. You should be able to analyze data and all of that. They advertised it. You, in another country, applied to a job that has Sancherma's name already written on it. It couldn't work. Do you understand? These are dynamics. So not all the jobs you see online are real. They are just putting it because they already know who they're hiring, and they have to, it is what it is, and you cannot carry them to court about it. It is legal. They've done the legal thing by posting the job online. But you see that Sancherma that had that rapport with my advisor that needed a job, she's the one that got the job at the end of the day. So what you said is like so important, Halima. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So they just gave me a 1 month holiday, and I was chilling throughout that holiday because I knew I had a job waiting for me, and that was it. I started, the research assistant role. It lasted for, I think, 11 or 12 months. And while I was the research assistant, I wasn't just chilling, saying, I had a job for 1 year. I was still applying for other jobs. I had no intention of doing a PhD from day one. Yesterday knows. I always said PhD is not my thing. I don't think I can do a PhD. I always said I don't think I can do a PhD. I never saw myself as somebody that could actually do a PhD until somebody, a postdoc in my research assistant lab, told me that you're already doing research here. Why can't you do it for 4 years? That's equal to a PhD. It's the same thing. And I actually sat down and thought about it. That was very true. If I can be a research assistant. I can do a PhD. Like,
Really?
I can read papers, I can carry out research, I can write, I can write papers. Like, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Then I went ahead to start applying for PhD roles. I started walking into people's offices. Like, I put my picture on my CV so they can remember that Black girl in that place. And I dropped my CV in almost everybody's. I'm sure they were tired of me in that department. I did not care. I did not care. And I randomly did, like, they put up vacancies on my school's websites for PhDs and research assistants every Friday. I used to refresh the page every Friday. I'm sure I used to be the first person to apply for any PhD role. I'm very sure about that. Then I saw it was on my birthday that year. On that Friday, I just researched out of frustration. Which one am I applying for again today? And I saw seaweed, I saw sausages. The seaweed was what even caught my attention because I was already working on seaweed at that point. I'm like, lots of people actually working on seaweed in this, in UCC. So it would be nice to actually continue working on seaweed. The idea of me just continuing that trend was very exciting for me. Somebody else sent me the link that, Halima, apply for this PhD. I applied that Friday. I think I got a reply the next Monday saying, oh, thank you for your application. Nobody has ever replied to my application ever. So I'm like, this man replied. He took time out to write an email to say, thank you for your application. I was very positive on that day. I said he was going to send on the interview date to me. I replied him back so he can keep seeing my name and dreaming about me. I replied him back. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
No, let me pause you there. A lot of students, Nigerians, I know that they're not the ones on this. They don't know how to. You see, checking emails is their disease. Is like someone will send you an email 2 days ago, you're responding 5 days later. You're not the only one. You've already lost that opportunity. So it's important for you, when you are applying, registering, all those things, use an email that you know that you will check, that immediately the message lands in your box. You are jumping on it immediately. I just wanted to put that out there for people to use working emails. Don't use emails these are little things that they don't know about. They're just like, I'll check it tomorrow when I have data or something. Use an email that you know that you will use, so that if they're responding to you while they're on their computer, you are responding back to them, and that there's no break in communication.
These people are busy, so you have to be there. Stand by. Wait, you're the one in need of the job. I applied, like, he sent me the interview dates. I prepared for the interview. Definitely, I read on the research area. I read about sausages I had never read about before. I read about the specific seaweeds that they wanted to work with. I went back to refresh on what I was working on because I knew they were going to ask me about my present research. I went for the interview. I was so enthusiastic about it. Definitely, I needed the job. I needed the PhD. I was happy that I actually saw myself doing a PhD. Yesterday, I started a PhD at that point, and I'm like, my friend Yetunde has gingered me. You can do this. I'm like, yeah, you can do this, Halima. I went for the interview. I had some people in front of me asking me questions. I was just trying my best to answer the questions to the best of my ability. I was nervous. I hate interviews, I hate exams, I hate tests. I was nervous as hell. I tried my best to answer the questions. There's some of the questions I didn't know the answer, but I still said something. After the interview, I was like, that didn't make sense. But I still said it to my full chest. And I think they definitely picked up on, how enthusiastic I was and interested in seaweeds generally. Like, it was the seaweeds that I was so interested in. They picked that up. They asked me if I could do some experiments. I told them what I could do and I told them what I couldn't do. They talked about statistics. I'm like, I don't really know much about statistics. I didn't lie because I know that if I had lied and they put the stats in front of me, I won't be able to do much of it. So I didn't lie about it. They were like, oh, no problem. You'll teach it. I take a few courses. You can register me for some private classes and all of that. I was like, cool, no problem. They had 2 roles and they asked me which one I would prefer and why. And I told them which one I would prefer and why. I had more experience in one than the other. Like, the one I chose had, microbiology in it. I already am a microbiologist. I could do that work on my own with PT or no supervision. And the other one I think was on flavor analysis. I have 0 experience, knowledge on it. And I explained my reason and they said, okay, no problem, they'll get back to me. They said they'll get back to me. I said, when? They said a week. I said, okay. I put it on my phone. After a week, they didn't get back to me. I gave them another day. They didn't get back. I gave them another day. I sent an email. What's up? Where's my job? Where's my PhD? Because it's my own. Where is it? I sent an email that, oh, good afternoon. I didn't even say, I said, good day, professor, whatever, because I didn't have a relationship with him yet. So I still called him by his name and all of that. I said, how are you? What's the update? And he said, oh, we'll get back to me. They haven't decided. Thank you. I replied again. I always make sure that I was the last person to send an email, send a
That makes
message.
sense.
I said, okay. I still said, thank you. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Yeah.
He said, no problem. After like another week, I didn't hear back. I sent another one again. What's up? Where's my job? He said he'll get back to me again. No problem. That's how I sent him emails every week. I'm sure if they wanted to pick somebody else, they wouldn't have had the audacity to, because it was all mine. I wrote my name all over that research. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So I think the fact that I was so enthusiastic and I kept on sending like the emails every single week, he decided to give me the role. I don't know if it was out of frustration. I really don't care.
No, what you
It
say
was
is
out of frustration.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me let you finish.
Yeah, so I don't know the reason why, because you picking an, for them to choose an international student, they have to give a reason why to the university, because EU students come first, Irish students, EU students come
Wow.
first. Yeah, so you have to give a reason why you're picking an international student for whatever role you're giving them. So
So
that's
you
what
guys, are you
they did.
adding this onto your list of why and why you should not and why you should? Wow, I did
Oh,
not
you
know
should.
that.
If you're capable, if they see you're capable, they will definitely pick you. I'm not the first Nigerian student or international student. I wouldn't be the last. Do you understand?
Right.
I'm definitely, if I had more, I'm sure I had more experience than the other people that applied, and that is enough reason for them to give me the role.
It's so important because what you say, and that's another thing that people don't, the dynamics that people don't understand, and maybe I'll talk about this at a later time, not today, that the funding that these professors get dictates the type of people that they can hire. Some funding agencies spell it out. We don't want any international person, only Americans or only Irish people,
EU,
or only
yeah.
Europeans we want for this particular job. So
Yeah.
you're not, so even if you apply, you will just be wasting your time. They'll just tell you that, oh, we're sorry, even though we want to hire you, this is only open for people who are citizens.
Yeah.
Or something like
Most
that.
of them are actually like that, Yetunde. Sorry to cut
Yeah.
you. Most of them are actually like that. Just a few. And sometimes, even if I see for only EU students, I still apply because I'm in Ireland. I have a better chance than someone that is in Spain. Do you understand what I mean? I'm here. I'm physically here. It was easier for my supervisor to hire me. He didn't have to go through transcript anything. My transcript came from UCC already. He didn't have to deal with English language. I studied in UCC already at my IELTS. You get, so these things are important. Like, apply within the university you're in. If you're a master student and you're looking for a PhD, walk into people's offices. I've walked into random people's offices to talk on other people's behalf that I don't even know, for people I know. So, be direct, be intentional about these things. Like, don't just chill and relax and hope that something will come to your table.
Oh, wow. Hey, what you said about aggressive application is so deep, where you keep on. I know somebody that applied to someone. I don't want to pull it up on my phone because I might waste time. When she sent me the screenshot, I'm like, so this person responded to you and you did not reply back. Like, are you kidding me? Even though she didn't really, I need to pull it up, please, you guys, just so that I can be giving you real practical example here. Sorry, bear with me. So apparently she had applied to this school and let me see. Okay, apparently she had applied to this school. She had written to the professor. He didn't respond, so maybe she sent another email again. And the person said, "Dear XXX, sorry for the delayed response. As you can imagine, work gets quite busy as the semester draws to a close. I would consider applicants that are interested in earning a second master's degree, especially if they're attending." Okay, yeah. So the person told her that, I wanted to make sure that I was reading the right email to you. I would consider applicants that are interested in earning a second master's degree. So she had a master's degree. She wanted to get another master's degree, what we're talking about, especially if they were changing their professional focus and needed specialized training. So essentially, he was like, why are you getting a second master's degree for? You already have a master's degree. The only reason I'm going to consider you is if you are jumping, like what Emmanuel said, from zoology to food microbiology, then I will consider a second master's degree. However, I would certainly not automatically discount a PhD applicant that earned their master's degree at an institution from a developing country. So I think she was writing the professor and was like, I think I'm from Nigeria. I didn't, I don't think I'm really qualified or something. So he told her that in the absence of any specific knowledge on my part, I tend to give institutes of higher learning the benefit of the doubt, no matter where they are located. So he's saying that it doesn't matter where you got your undergraduate degree from or your master's degree, as long as it's a higher level of degree, like an undergrad. If it's higher institution, he hires anybody. He does not say, this one is from Nigeria, I'm not hiring.
Yeah.
As long as it's a bachelor's degree or a master's, they consider you. So he continued and he says, I think she now told him that she has been applying, she has been reaching out to people and they haven't responded to her. So he said, I understand your frustration with not getting into the lab of your choice in previous application. As a young professional, I also had, you see that this is somebody that took his time to sit down and explain, break things down to you from head to toe. As a young professional, I also had difficulty getting into graduate school at first. So he's mentoring you already. If you understand my anger when she not respond to this email, gosh. As a young professional, I also had difficulty getting into graduate school at first. I ended up working more years between degrees than I initially planned. Graduate openings within particular academic labs can be quite competitive. And even though I am a new professor, my lab is no exception. The University of Illinois, which is the school she was applying to, has a very good reputation and so draws many interested candidates when openings occur. I will be considering your application along with others that I receive in the next few months. If you have any more questions in the meantime, let me know. Do you understand the length of this email? And she did not respond. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I said, oh, this is great, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no reply since then. I'm like, what do you mean, no reply since then? You didn't reply him. Do you expect him to reply you? This person has already spoken to you. He has mentored you. He has talked to you, empathized with you based on your frustration of applying to graduate school. He has told you that even though you are from Nigeria, I will consider your application. I am waiting. Do you have any question? You will bombard him like the way Halima was bombarded. You bombard them. You will call them. If they don't pick their phone, you continue looking at that. You continue emailing them. Let that be the only, when they wake up in the morning, they should see your email. The next morning is your email they should see. They cannot come and kill you. Like, they will not come to Nigeria and stab you. That the ones that can happen is they will not respond. But you see, that disturbance, you can't disturb them. Because he said they forget. That's it. They're not carrying you in their chest. They don't have any emotional connection to you that, that girl, I spoke to her 5 weeks ago. I think let me go and remember her. They don't even remember your name, except you continually respond to me. Sir, I have a question, even though you don't have any question. I just applied. I wanted your information on this. Oh, I saw this paper that you wrote. Fantastic. You keep on being in their faces. That's how she did not respond to him. I'm like, and I said, when last did you hear from him? Imagine, she said last year. I said, you have not touched base since then. She said, he only acknowledged my application. I don't know if I should mail him back so that I will not look stubborn. Look stubborn, please. I beg you, look stubborn. What do you mean? So you guys pay attention to these things. Don't do that, Yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this little. Are you guys learning? Drop it in the chat. I think they're feeling it. They're like, hey, wow, blah, blah, blah. So emails are so important. If somebody takes their time like that to talk to you, you've got to respond back. So great job, Halima. Thank you for walking us through that and telling us about aggressive applications. It's so important for you. The worst they can do is to not reply, but you see, you will be stubborn until you get what you want. So I think we're done with Ireland. Are we done? Okay, another question that I had was, so are you saying that you've told us your story? I completely get it. But if I was somebody who was applying for Nigeria directly for a PhD program, maybe I have a master's degree from the University of Ibadan, whatever, do I need to get number one, is funding automatic? And I know we already talked about the fact that there's that dynamic between who is funding your project and whatever. Is funding automatic, number one? Number two, do I have to reach out to the professor, or all I just have to do is fill out the application?
Yeah, there are a couple of ways you can do it. Yes, you can apply from Nigeria if you have a master's degree or bachelor's degree for a PhD. If you see the vacancies on UCC's website or the school's website, you can apply. It's up to the supervisor to decide on who they want to employ. And there's really no control around that. Even if you message them privately, it might increase your chances, but it's really not certain. And you don't need to have a mentor to, apply for a PhD. Only if you want to go through a different route and you have a project you want to write on, you can then go ahead and talk to whoever and write the proposal together and definitely employ you as a PhD because it is your proposal. You can, the easiest way is how I did it. I won't lie, like come here first, get a master's, build connections, talk to people directly, work with them directly. They know you, they can vouch for you. It's easier for them to actually, most of the people in my department, that's how they did it. They either worked as research assistants or they did their 4th-year project in their lab or they did their master's project in that lab and the professor decided to keep them on because they knew they had one funding coming in somehow, some way. Do you understand? Like, it's not impossible. Like, not, I've seen people coming here from, I know someone that came in here from Nigeria with a master's degree in Nigeria to do a PhD in Italy, and it was a collaborative PhD. I think those ones that you do within 2 universities. He did his first 2 years in Italy, and he did his last 2 years in UCC, which is in Ireland. It is not impossible. You just do your homework, find out how you can do it, but it is not impossible.
Okay, thank you very much. So you guys have heard though, don't try to do these things on your own. You know, if you're interested in something, go and find people. Like I said, if I was to do my application all over again, I would apply to schools that I know that somebody is, you know, if I'm really nice about my email to them, outside of doing the one that I can do by disturbing the professors, I will also still see if I can get a contact in that school that will, you know, even if you don't know anybody directly, at least you should have one person in this America or in UK or in Ireland, your friend, somebody, an extended family member, not family member that is in school doing their masters or their PhD, that even though you're not applying to that you can just reach out to and say, hey, you know, I know you're doing your master somewhere in Ireland, you know, I'm applying to this school. Do you know anything about it? Like, I've been applying for a while or whatever. Do you know anybody that is doing their master's or their PhD degree? You can even put it on your Instagram. You know, does anybody know anyone who is doing a master's degree in Ireland? Just put it there, and maybe people will respond to you. You don't know, and then from there you reach out to them and say, hey, you know, I've been applying. I just want to know if you have insider information on any openings in any lab that I can directly apply to. People are always good people, great people. Majority of people are good. I like to think that they're always happy to help. So thank you very much, Halima. We're gonna move on to UK, and then we can now go into like the breakout rooms if you guys have any more questions. So repeat for UK, Emmanuel, help us out. Like, what should we do? And I want you to touch on something really important, because you told me that when you and I spoke a few weeks ago that you actually never saw yourself as somebody that could travel abroad. Like, you just saw yourself as this Ife boy, just do my NYC and try my best. Like, what changed? Like, why are you in UK all of a sudden as someone who didn't see himself going to the UK or traveling abroad?
Thank you. I'll try and answer questions. Just try to remind me. So let's start with the basic requirements coming to the UK. It's similar with Ireland. Okay, media certificate, official or unofficial transcript. Then definitely need an international passport to travel. So you need the biodata of the international passport actually to make application. And I actually put these there, national passport, because some people will message me like, oh, I'm trying to get into the UK for September opening. I will ask you, the first thing, do you have an international passport? Because look at the condition back at home now. Getting your international passport can actually be worrisome. I almost lost my applications because of my passport. I had to use policemen, okay, to bombard the immigration office back in Ibadan if I could get mine. So in order for you not to go through that stress, why not get your passport now? Apply now. You don't need it now or next year. But give yourself time. Apply for maybe a 10 years passport. When you get it, it'll be useful. Okay? That's one thing. Then your academic CV, statement of interest or statement of purpose. Okay, that's another thing you need. Then original O-level results. And there's some schools in the UK that we actually need you to send them a WAEC or NECO scratch card so that they can confirm your what's it called? Your
O-level, your
O-level results. So for mine, I did that. Okay.
Wait, I have a question. Is that Nigeria specific or is for everybody?
Well, I applied for Nigeria, so I
just want to, because it might be because of experience, and maybe they have some people that lie that
they have some experience that maybe people put out wrong information. So they want to how they can confirm from WAEC is actually to check your results. So so I have to upload, I have to send them scratch card, 500 naira scratch card. So, and also now I'll be realistic with you the source of fund. Yeah, there are basic, there are two basic what's it called, scholarship opening for people coming from West Africa, Nigeria inclusive, to come to the UK for a fully sponsored master's. One is the Commonwealth Scholarship, and the second one is the Chebney Scholarship. Now, these two scholarship schemes are actually competitive, very competitive, and we have to write essays and all for that. I did not come here for a sponsor, what's called funded master. However, the universities are going to also, they have fundings, they have scholarships.
Sorry, you said Commonwealth Scholarship and what other scholarship?
Chebney.
Chebney.
Yeah. So those are the two major scholarship openings for masters for graduate students into the UK. Then another thing is, okay, let me talk about the universities you're applying to. You know, I paid £14,500 for my master's degree, whereas some people pay only 7,500. Some people pay 10, some people pay 12. But I paid the full, okay. Chevning, Chevning.
Oh, Chevning, sorry.
Yeah, okay. So now I paid the full amount, whereas when I get to the UK, I was still telling them, oh, I still have installment fee to pay, I still have this amount. Some people was like, oh, I paid everything, I just paid 7,500. Like, wait a minute, how did you do it? Just like what Alima said the other time. These people actually said, oh, I finished with 2-1 from Nigeria. I'm like, yes, I finished with 2-1 also, but I'm paying 14,500, you're paying 8,000. And 8,000 to 14,000, that's like millions of naira. Okay. So this is what happened. Like when you apply on time, there are specific times that these universities, they open like a day. That day they open their portal for scholarship, for international students. Not only in Nigeria, it can be from India, for anywhere. So, and depends on which one you're applying for. Some are just 25% discount, some are up to 50% discount. And these now depend on the statement of purpose, the statement of interest you wrote. And for me, like I said, during that period, I was to come to the UK in January. I started applying late October. Okay, so in fact, the scholarship scheme is far gone back in. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, do your research. If I'm going to this university, I know from my university, Northern Trent, okay, they have 25%, 30%, 50%, and in fact, they even have some scholarship specifically for Nigerian students. Okay, so and though it's not full, okay, all this university scholarship might not be full, they are discounted prices. And imagine if your tuition fee is 10 million naira and you are paying, let's say, they reduce it to like say 7 million naira for you. Trust me, still money. 3 million naira is a lot. Okay, your parents will be happy. Okay, now so I came to the UK to.
Well, what you say, let me piggyback on that. It's so important because, and this is why it's important for you to know what you want to do. That's again why we're doing this webinar. Because you end up seeing that you see people that have graduated, maybe they plan to go to US, for instance. It didn't work out. They applied. And this is already in November. And they see that, oh, Halima, my friend, went to UK. Let me ask her, how did you do it? Halima tells them. Then they start putting everything. They don't even do this primary research to see if they can get discounts. And it's now when they arrive like you that they're like oh, so I could have actually gotten this, you know. So don't wait until you're in a fix. That's what happens to people. When they're in a fix, when they're not able to get a job or something, they now start considering traveling out of the country. No, keep your head above water. Have a plan for your life. What do you want to do? You know, that's so important for you know, it will save you a lot of time. It will save you a lot of money and it will save you a lot of stress. I just wanted to point that out.
All right, thank you. And also, English proficiency. Okay, most schools in the UK for a master's degree, they might not need to write IELTS. But if you're applying for things like Commonwealth, what's it called, CHEVME, you need IELTS, okay? Because some of the universities apply to the policy would be, okay, you must have at least 7.0 or something, or 6.5. So you can have it, but if you don't have it, okay, some people just use their English, what's it called, their O-level degree, like maybe C5, I think it's C5. And for some schools, like I know for my school rather, where you give a letter of English proficiency that, yeah, this person was taught in English. Okay? So you can use that also instead of IELTS. So let's say you're coming, you're trying to apply. It's not a must to actually have IELTS, but it is important. Okay, it's not compulsory, but it's necessary.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So it's actually place you better for some discounts or scholarships.
I have a question, Emmanuel, just in case there are people like me in the audience that are struggling. So, okay. For instance, if I'm trying to apply, I start early. I'm trying to understand the way the scholarship thing works. And I'm looking for a discount, right? A 50% discount. Is it going to be there directly in my face when I'm applying that apply for Commonwealth scholarship or apply for Heavenly scholarship, or do I have to on my own apply externally for these scholarships that will now end up giving a tuition waiver for whatever school I apply to? Like if I go through the scholarship, do they have a list of schools that they only give discount for, or is it for anywhere I get admission?
All right. The few knowledge I have about Commonwealth and CHEVME, so you apply to the school yourself. Okay, you get this unconditional offer. You get this conditional offer, rather, the conditional offer from the schools. Now, you have a separate application to Commonwealth. You write an essay to them. Okay, so they are going to, what's it called, go through your essay and see if they select, okay, they are selected to be part of the scholarship winners, then they will be the one to sponsor your business and give you stipend. Now, let's come back to the universities where you can get discounts. Okay, you are applying like any other person, like you're going to pay your full fee. Now, for example, let me give an example. Like, people coming in September this year for my school, they're coming in September this year. So for people that applied early and they have this conditional offer, okay, they have this conditional offer from them. Now, there is always an open day where they open that portal. Okay, I think they opened the portal early last month, for people coming in September. Then you now put in this application for the discount. So if you are lucky enough to get it, then get the discount already before you even pay your fees.
Okay. So scholarship is different from getting a discount from the school.
Yes, so this discount is actually from the universities. Okay. Scholarship is actually is a separate budget.
Yeah.
Separate budget, but and also you should do your research. Now I get to know that in the UK currently there is a school, University of All University, All City University. Now the fees for the for British students and international students are the same now. And that is pretty cool. So University of All, you can have a master's for like £9,000 compared to paying £15,000. Now, if the school fees is already £9,000, I still apply to that same school, get discount again. By the time imagine you paying £7,000 for.
You will end up paying £3,000 or something.
Yeah, something like that. So around that. So you should do your research also. Fees are different. There's some schools that their tuition fees 25,000. You have to look at your pocket. You have to check, okay, this is where I'm going. You can't, for example, University of Cambridge. I want to go to the University of Cambridge. They have £40,000 to pay for just a year. Okay, and 40,000 is 40,000 and 700. Calculation, get the number of millions of naira that to be. So you have to You have to do your research, like which school am I going? And another thing is the course of study. Life sciences, biology is so wide, a lot of things. Okay, you have to now consider like, oh, what do I want to do? I think someone asked me why biomedical science.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I apply to different schools. Can apply like even to this to a single school. Can apply. Can use the same application for up to 3 different courses. The same application for different courses. So I applied to I think 3 different schools, and Nottingham Trent I applied at first. Because now another thing is there are a lot of UK agencies. It's like they're forcing the course on you. They're forcing your choice of course to you. No, but you're the one coming to the UK. You don't allow someone to take your life to you, because that happened to me. Okay, now
they just want you to get visa. They want to get their money from you,
so that
they will just be like,
to the UK, when you get to the UK, there is a way the university actually pay them, like, okay, you come through this agency, and this agency, they get the money. They just want you to go. So Nottingham Trent, okay, I applied to, I think, UEL, University of East London. Then I look at London, the cost of living might be too much. I'm like, okay, let me go for this Nottingham Trent. So in Nottingham Trent, at first I applied for biotechnology. But then I told the agency, I don't want this. They said, no, it's okay. Just I went behind their back to apply for biomedical science. Like, okay, you are not the one going to the UK. I'm the one going. This is my own. Okay, imagine say I should go for biotech. I know my what's it called, my interest, where it is. Biotech is fine. No, people are doing well with biotechnology. Exactly. But for me, like personally, you have to get your own drive. Like, okay.
This is the difference between people that want to jackpot and people that know what they want for their lives. Because all the agents, what they're concerned about is people go to UK. We can get you to the UK. Apply for. They don't give you any course. Apply for entomology or something.
Exactly.
Apply for it. But and so you have to be able to make that decision for myself that, okay, yes, as much as I want to travel out, I don't want to. It's kind of like what Tosin said, where last week, where he said that, I don't want to do, was it home care or something? I don't want to all in the name of going to Canada. I'll now go and do home care and diploma in home care versus a PhD in food microbiology and industrial microbiology. Like, what is it to you? You have to be able to make that decision for yourself, so it's so important.
Okay, and I think I want to debunk.
Let me even ask you a question, because you're mentioning these agents. Should people use agencies? Halima, you can comment on
yeah, that's what I want to say. There's some agency that will actually collect money from you. But I know of an agency in Nigeria, they won't collect a dime from you. A dime, everything. They will help you throughout your visa application to the UK. They are called UKES. I'm going to type it in the chat. UKES. So they help you with, they don't get any, like, you don't need to pay them. I think they have different branches in Nigeria. I think Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and all those. You can always contact them. Just put it on Google search, ask them questions. They will tell you. In fact, this agent will actually tell you all those discounts you can get, because this is actually a reputable agency that's actually recognized in the UK. Okay, you can always use this. They won't charge you. Whereas some people, they will charge 140,000. Okay, anything to save money coming to the UK. Okay, another thing I want to try to debunk is there is this mentality when you're in Nigeria, like after microbiology, after biochemistry, they will tell you, okay, go outside and do public health. Okay, public health is fine. Public health is fine, but let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, okay, it's better you study molecular biology, biomedical science, cell and bees, biotech in the UK than coming to study public health. Studying public health is just a means for you to jackpot. I'm in the system, and I know, like, it's better you as in the life sciences than public health. You are better place to get better jobs than people studying public health. But back at home, everything is everybody just follow masses, like, oh, public health, public health. No, okay. You need to do your research. No, I'm still trying to answer that question about why do I choose biomedical science. No, in the UK, like everywhere is biomed. No, biomed in UK comprises virtually everything. So you are easily like, if you want to work in the industry, fine. If you want to go into research, it's fine. Okay, so don't allow anybody to actually dictate to you.
I like that. And we're not saying you should not study public health. Please don't
I'm
get
not saying
it
that.
wrong.
If that
But
was
you have to be able to think about what you want for your future. If you want to be able to get a job, right? Because you need experience. If you want to be able to get a job in that country, what applies? Because for some people, they're like, they have enough public health Europeans swimming in UK.
Exactly.
And like you said, them first before you. So you have to be able to play that. You have to be able to draw. There's a thin line between passion and how are you going to be able to make money, make a living out of what you've gone to school to study. So, draw that, be able to make that definition between what you're passionate about and the skills that you're going to be able to get. So I think
yes, you can come to the UK with HND, you can come to the UK with 2-2, and if you have a very good application, you can still come to the UK with it. Okay, you can still do it. So I'm not saying you should go ahead to get a third class, okay? I'm just saying maybe we have graduates here, okay? Don't limit yourself. And coming to the UK is actually very, very, to some extent, the application is easy. And I think even while many countries last year during COVID, they have reduction in number of international students into their country. UK had 83% increase in the number of visa they awarded to Nigerians. No, 17,500. Now, just take during COVID period. So UK is actually welcoming to Nigerians, and again now with the 2-year post-study visa, there was no post-study when I came.
Yeah,
there was no post-study, but now this I'm going to clear that also. When I'm coming to study, there are different kind of courses out there at different university. As some, like maybe for me, I want to spend more time in the country to get more connection. Okay, I have no idea about all these before. So there's some, we have thought masters, we have research masters, and even these thought masters, they have 2 types. One is full-time and one is sandwich. Okay, full-time is just 12 months, you're done, get out of our country. Why sandwich is after a year of study, then you have a year outside. Okay, it's called placement, something like internship that you can do anywhere of your choice. So let me tell you something like, let me ask you, let me put it to you. Would you prefer coming to UK just for 1 year and they tell you to go back home, or you come and spend another 1 year to work in the UK to get more connections? Definitely you want something, spend more time in it. But when I was coming, I made that mistake. I came 1 year visa. So I had to change the route of my study to a sandwich course. Okay, like, okay, I'm not going back home. Okay, this is about you being intentional. Like, okay, I'm not going. If everybody is going home, okay, I don't want to go. So you have to think to go. So when you're applying, you can apply directly from home. Whereas some people already came in with a 2-year visa, not happens to their visa. So, but for someone like me, it becomes so hard. Like, I have to get something. So if you're applying, you can apply to a program. UK master is just 12 months. I think 12 months. We can apply to a program that's 3 years, like a year of study and a year in industry. So you can apply with that, like sandwich, they're called sandwich programs. You can take in university, they have these programs, not all university. And so university also have these, but not at all openings. There are 2 openings in September or January.
So you were lucky that University of Nottingham or Nottingham Trent University had a sandwich option. Program. So if you had gone to a school that didn't have that sandwich option, you would have gone.
I think I should be back in Oyo State, Nigeria, if I want to live.
So this is about, let's bring it home. Now, we're not asking you to go and with the ideology that you want to go back and stay in a country. That's not what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
We're saying that you have to get value for what you're doing. You don't want to come and just get Bali or certificate, like people call it. What next after that? Why don't you try and see and select somewhere where you can get a job, make important connections? Because these professors you are working with, they don't only have connections in the UK, they have connections everywhere. They are getting grants, for crying out loud. If you're able to make those important connections in another 1 year with them, you are good. When even if you have to go back home, you can still continue keeping up with them. Tell them, hey, I'm applying to Germany tomorrow. Is there anybody that you can? It's so important for you to not just come, get your certificate, your master certificate, and go. So that's the point Emmanuel is trying to make. He's not saying, please, we're not promoting that.
No.
By all
I'm not promoting Papa, but in some extent, what I'm saying is, okay, the connections I'm making this year is way better than what I made last year. Because last year is just basically I missed students. But this year, I'm able to meet people like PhD students, postdoctoral students, like make connections with them, ask them questions, what's your research about? From there, you get some inside tips about what is going on and where the funding is coming from. No, there's actually funding I'm targeting so much now. And my eyes on that funding. I'm just waiting for them to say, okay, the funding has been approved, then emails upon emails, like, okay, don't forget me. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's it about coming to the UK and the requirement. So if there are many things I could have done better, those are the things I've listed. Like I should apply early, then I did not know anybody in the UK. That's another challenge I have nobody. So, but I have this with me that, okay, I'm coming to the UK to look and to actually add value to myself. But when I came to the UK, there was pandemic. There was pandemic and everything. So you need to just structure your life properly. Like, it's not easy coming to the UK. And how many hours can you work? You can work 20 hours per week, just like Alima said also in Ireland, 20 hours per week during time, and you can work full time during holidays. But then it's a 12-month master's. You don't even have holidays to you. So just assume you're coming here to work 20 hours per week. Okay. And one thing you should know is, I won't lie to you, it's not easy coming to the UK and you're not getting any stipend. You have to make it for yourself. Okay. You will do some jobs that are actually not comfortable, possibly. Okay. Some people actually get some easy job, but it's not really easy for everybody. But one thing I believe is, if others have done it before, you can do it. I've said it before. Okay, so you can only work 20 hours per week, any job you want.
I feel like that's the difference between UK and US and European countries. In the US, even though whether you get a scholarship or not, you're not allowed to work outside of school. You're not legally allowed to work outside of school. They give you that 20-hour cap. You can only work 20 hours while school, whether school is in session or school is not in session, you can only work 20 hours and you can only get a job on campus. So you are limited. You can't, it's illegal. You cannot get a job off campus. So these are things that people need to know. If you want to go to US and you're paying tuition, how easy is it for you? So people end up working, in the school kitchen, in the restaurants, on campus, in the library and things, which is not bad. You do what you have to do to be able to get what legally you can't work
legally
outside school campus.
One thing I let people know is, brother, when you're coming, don't think the 20 hours work will be enough for you to pay your tuition fee. You end up being on the street, then you neglect your own studies.
Yeah.
Okay. It won't be enough, because pounds sometimes is crazy. Let me just put it to you. Let's do a little bit of calculation. Let's say you have a minimum wage job, £9 per hour, and you're working 20 hours per week. £9 by 20, that's like
about £200.
Let's say you have 200 per week, 800 in a month. 800 multiplied by 10, because when you get to the UK, you can't just start work. There's some things you have to do. 6 weeks, you have to be waiting for your NIN number and all those things. So let's say you're making 800 multiplied by 10 months, that's 8,000. And out of those 8,000, 4,000 is going for, at least 4,000 is going for your, what's it called? accommodation bills. So you are left with 4,000. That 4,000 you're still going to pay other bills. All those money, it will go away. Okay. So, but it is enough for you to get yourself a good accommodation and do all those things without actually calling them back at home. Okay?
But you can never pay your tuition. So never leave the country thinking that when I get there, I'll figure it out.
Nevertheless,
Sweep under the bridge.
yeah, nevertheless, okay, nevertheless, I know of a guy, I know from guys that they came to the UK and they school. So how did they do? Okay, this is what they do. Because of COVID-19, there is a need for, like, they are working in healthcare, like care job and all those things, you can work full time. And that's what they did. So they work like 6 hours a week to actually get money. But it's not
Was that
also
illegal?
it's
Was
legal.
it
Just
legal?
to the care sector, like if you're working as a care worker or a support worker. But there are other people who do that illegally, but it's not, at the end of the day, they track all your NIN movements, like all the tax, everything, they track it, and it actually affects you to apply for this post-study. Why deceive yourself just for 10 months and use 24 months, like, and stay in the country to make other connection and get better jobs or get better funds or PhD opportunities? So that's
Sorry
it
to
for-
cut you there. Sorry, like I don't know if you guys heard the story a few years ago of a few students here in Ireland who worked overtime and he got deported. Like they got caught and he got deported. It is a pain, like you'll be surprised.
Wow.
So don't try to work overtime. Don't try
Yeah.
it, like it's not worth it.
Exactly. They sent no, because I need to clear this, because UK is not just a country. You just come and like, yes, I'm in the God, my brother, you are not in, you are in for it. Okay, you are in for it. And I'm trying to check on that thing, like just like what Alima said, I want to go over it, how to get PhD. Sometimes actually the inside tips, okay, the inside report. You know, I know many people, maybe if you know this particular influencer, is a lecturer in NCU, Ogbeni Dipo, you know that. So also he did is from doing his own post-study time, then try to apply inside the PhD and from there. So the inside tips for PhDs, what people are actually majorly, because UK is not like unlike the US where you have a lot of funding for. But I think they're trying to improve on that, because after COVID, they're like, okay, to up their research gains. Okay,
Yeah.
so fundings, their fundings, but it's majorly for they're British people. So, but but at the end of the day, but if you are working with someone, I saw a question the other time, like how do you build rapport with your supervisor? Now, for Alima, she was the only student to the supervisor. Me, we are 4. Okay, and the first meeting we had during the first contact meeting we had with our supervisor, I was not, because then I was still fighting the school, like, okay, I want to go to the lab. I don't want to sit down for literature review based research, like because of COVID. I was soon already, the Aluta spirit from IFE was still in me. It's like I'm still trying
So
to
you
fight.
got in for a third master's degree, but then you now started fighting for research experience.
No, normally there's always a 3 month for research. But because of COVID last year, you can't go to the lab, so you have to sit down. So I was still trying to fight, like, oh, can you guys just help us? Because while I was coming, that's the only thing I was coming to do. Like, hey, I want to be in the lab. So without that, so the first contact, I was not with my supervisor. So because I was not there on the first contact, my supervisor already have this notion that this black boy, it's not serious, I was the only black boy with him. So I changed the narrative. And today we are close friends. So there's a way you have to build rapport with us. And don't know, some supervisors are actually lazy until you force them to work. Some supervisors are, not every supervisor, you won't have it so easy. I remember, like, let me give an example what happened to me. My supervisor, after the proposal, we had to write a proposal, gave me a score that was not so good. Like that, I was so angry. Other people were like, Manuel, that's how it happened to everybody. I'm like, oh God, no. I had to type an email to him. Hello, sir. I'm working with you for 3 months, and you actually owed, you have a great decision to make, my final grade, because the research project is like 120 units. That's 1/3 of everything. So if I miss it in this research project, then I won't be able to attain my goal. Okay. So I have to type an email to him. Well, others are like, it's okay, just work on it. I'm like, no, I have to know why. Okay. Why did you fail me? I had to type an email like, hello, Dr. Ali, blah, 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 blah. This is it. So that's why I sit down. I'm like, yes, okay, fine. We can't change the results. Because at the end of the day, I found out like why you marked me down was not just it. Like, it made no sense to me. But I'm like, okay, that aside, for this project, this is who I am. This is what I want. Okay. I want to work, I want to do this, put it to them. Then I change the narrative. After everything, yeah, we have meeting next time, like, oh, Emmanuel, can you share with us what you've done? Don't let these people, like, don't be nonchalant. You have to be intentional.
I know why you got the low score. We talked about it before, but I want you to tell them about it. This is again going to teach you what to be able to get your expectations. So if you get an assignment for a professor, don't just do the assignment, because be very clear on everything. So according to what happened to Ife in that research, he was supposed to write a proposal, right? He was supposed to write a proposal that he was going to carry out in 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. For 3 months. Ife had a great idea where he was like, in 1, we're going to do this experiment, in 2, this experiment in 3, this experiment. Everything was great, but he could not, the way that he was supposed to achieve it, the one he wrote was not achievable in 3 months. So that was why they actually they marked him down. So it's important for you when you're in situations like that, as you're going through it, and if you can back me up on this, be talking to them. What are your expectations? You know, this is my idea. How does this idea sound to you? Can you correct me? This is how you build rapport practically. When you get an assignment from the professor, they ask you to write a research proposal. You make an outline. Here are my thoughts. Do you think that this is viable? Do you think I should go ahead and start making my report on this? They'll tell you, no, scrap this out. That's their job. You're paying. Make them do their job. Don't try to figure it out on your own. Build that rapport with them, professor, this, I'm not, I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything. My scores are really important to me. I don't want to fail this class. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything as stipulated as I can. These are my aims for this research proposal that I'm writing. Do you think it is achievable? Do you think it's not achievable? Don't talk to the right people. As much as we're saying talk to the right people. You see, if I was talking to people that were telling him, don't go and fight, don't go, this is what happens to everybody. Don't do that. Talk to the right people, So I just wanted to point that out as a practical way of how you can build rapport.
Like, now, it's the worst thing is like, that's the worst thing they will tell you. And if there's anything also, I will advise you to stay in school, even if your project in your final year is not so great. Try and push for publication. Just push it forward to your supervisor and back at it. Like, I want to publish. Like, push it to them. Because I was asking my friend, I got 50% discount was like, oh, he's from India. And he said, publish 2 papers during his BSc. I'm like, publish 2 papers. So things like that also, just push it to them. Like, it's not necessarily push it to them and they will help you out. Like, if there's anything I wish I could have done back at home before coming, also is actually having a paper content that could also help. It's not compulsory publications, but then I realized that people actually publish in the same department that I was, because I did not ask the question. So you have to ask the right question. Publications also is important for application to graduate school, not only in the UK, okay, everywhere. It's actually a plus. It's not like it's compulsory, but it helps your application.
Yeah, sorry to cut you there. Yeah, talking about publications, it is like, this was one of the questions they asked me during my PhD interview when I was applying for a PhD. They asked me if I had any publications. At that point, I had none, but I knew one was in the works. So I just told them that, yeah, like one was in the works. So I submitted it. We are just waiting for, approval and all of that for it to be accepted. So it definitely is something. I did not publish my DSC thesis. I wish I did because it was relevant. Do you understand?
It was the
So,
same
yeah.
thing for me too. They asked me, sorry, Halima, I cut you short. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I'm done.
So they asked me as well, my PhD interview, the person I was talking to, she was like, do you have any publication? I said no. And she was like, okay, do you have any writing sample? But I didn't just say no. This again, another tactic of how people respond to emails. She was like, have you ever written a publication? I said, no, I don't have any, published manuscripts in any of the journals. However, I carried out an undergraduate research project and I have my thesis written and that has been signed by my committee members. I can send it to you as an example so that you can take a look and see my writing proficiency. This is how you talk. You don't just say no, full stop.
No.
But
Yeah.
I can write. No, you have to be. Do you understand? So the fact that you did an undergraduate research is it's a publication on its own, even though it's not been published in all these research journals. It's not peer reviewed and all of that, but it's a writing sample that you can send. So just wanted to piggyback on what Halima said.
So that's it about applying to the UK, and you can get your decision like if you start application within 2 months, can be done with it. And applications sometimes are open around the year, okay? But you might not just receive your decision on time, okay? But applications sometimes around the year can depend on the school, depending on the school. Like for my school now, you can start applying anytime. There's some schools in this UK that just want you to come and send the money to them, but then you can still work around it. You can work around it. Like that's the reason why many people are coming to the UK sometimes. Like if you think you have the money, you can do it. Yeah, UK is okay for you. You're welcome.
Okay, awesome. So let me just ask specific questions before we now start allowing people to unmute and things like that. So Ife, how is it that you transitioned from your sandwich program, right, to getting a job offer from NHS and Cambridge? Why did you choose Cambridge over NHS? Let people know, like, it's important for us to be able to know how to position ourselves for all these different things. Was it that, I know that you had a 1 year, was it because of your 1 year post-study visa that you were able to legally apply to all these positions? What helped you make the decision between Cambridge and NHS and all of that?
Right, thank you. Like I said, I've always wanted to be better. After my final year university, like just realized like I'm doing something, like it's not like I'm just reading and cramming, something like that. So coming to the UK 2020 January, then 3 months later, we went to full lockdown, like total lockdown. Then everything was virtual till we are done with our. Okay. So then everything is just like assignments, and I write, give them the mark. So when I had the opportunity to choose between going for NHS test and trace program then, and I had an opportunity to go to, what was it called, the University of Cambridge. Now let's talk about the University of Cambridge. How did it come by? Okay, you might be thinking, like, people might be thinking like, oh, like, just a listen, I did not make a single application to get to the University of Cambridge, not send my CV, nothing. Okay, all I did when I was looking for placement is, I tried to, doing, in that same group that we are, my project group, there are 4, I make sure I relate to all of them. Like, hello. Then there was this lady, she's British. Okay, and I know, okay, this person can actually have influence. She's black British. So I make friends with everybody. But then I keep telling her, like, oh, still looking for placements. Okay, then it was like, oh, Manuel, I've seen you write before. Then I know of a professor in the University of Cambridge. I'm like, oh, really? Can you just speak to this man? Like, speak to him and tell him, like, someone is coming to Cambridge, like, someone is willing to come. Okay. Then we're on this back and forth. Sometimes I'll message her, she'll be like, oh, sorry, Manuel, I forgot. Then I keep reminding her, like, okay. So she did this for me, and then she was like, oh, I spoke with professor and he said he's willing to actually take me for placement. Like I should just send an email to him. Now, so when I was sending my email also, I actually had to sell myself properly. I have to type it wonderfully. Like I sat down with that email for like 3 days, like check it again. I can't just write like, hello, this is thanks. Looking forward to it. So I have to tell them, I look at into his research. I'm like, yeah. Though as at then, I still wanted to, I was not really interested in knowledge then. But then I have to read it on his paper. I read his papers and noticed, okay, this is what this man is doing. So I presented myself properly to him. And he replied to me like the following day, hi, Emmanuel, I will thank you for blah, blah, blah. And I'm willing to actually take you. But okay, as simple as that. So that's how I got into the University of Cambridge. Okay, so by recommendation, word of mouth, you make connection with people. Just don't sit down, just like Alima said, at the bus stop. Okay, if you see any, you won't know. They won't write into their face like, I have you. No, you won't know like they have you.
That's why I keep telling people, if I know of something, I won't put it out on my Instagram page or anything and be like, I know, ask me. It's until you reach out to me, until you tell me. Then if I hear of an opportunity and I'm like, oh, someone has actually spoken to me about, then I reach out to you. It's not, people they don't write it on their face that they know something.
So, and that's how I got, then I got the, okay, it was a reply. I got a reply for him. And at that moment also, I got an offer from NHS Tester, Lighthouse Lab then. But looking at the condition and what I wanted, like, oh, I didn't have any research skill apart from the one from OAU. And I was like, see, let me go for University of Cambridge. Now, listen, everybody wants money because the conversation I had with him then, with the professor, had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with money. I did not push money to him. I did not say, oh God, I need money. Okay. He replied me he replied my email, then he called me like 2 weeks later, like, hey, Emmanuel, what do you want to put in the letter? Even asked me, I'm like, okay, these are okay, put my roles there and be on the type paper, so I will send it to my school for confirmation. So at that moment, Spirit was telling me like, I'm gonna push this money to him. I'm like, wait, I can't just push money. I did not push money to him. He said, oh, with like, if possible, we'll actually get you funding. So I was leaving Nottingham for Cambridge on what's it called? Word of mouth. Money was not sure. Like I might not be getting anything, but I had to leave sure money in NHS. It's fine for you to work as a laboratory assistant, laboratory technician. It's fine. It's okay. And that's one thing about the UK. There are many jobs out there in the NHS and also in other companies. Okay, you can work there. It's fine. I'm not saying it's not fine. What I'm just saying is I'm looking at, okay, I want something that I'll be able to.
It's about what's important to you. Some people are more about applied research, like they just want to do something that's directly applicable to health and things like that. Then if you were in that situation, maybe NHS would have been the perfect opportunity for you. But Emmanuel on a different route is about developing therapeutics to find a cure to COVID, whatever. He wanted the wet lab experience. That was why he decided to go with Cambridge.
So I decided to go to University of Cambridge. Sincerely, if I don't want to lie to you, January, February, March, and some part of April this year was really, really hard for me because I was going to the lab Monday to Friday. Okay, and I had no time to work. In fact, that city, Cambridge City, is actually a city where you can't just get any kind of part-time job. Like all of them, they are booked. Everybody there. So this period was actually hard for me, and people were actually telling me like, Manu, you need to leave. It's not by force. It's someone that is alive that will actually continue with the research. Yes, actually, sincerely, I was at the point where I thought I would want to go to NHS, but I was still holding on that experience. Not sitting down, then just a month after I've been in the lab, and I know like, okay, whatever I'm doing in this lab, they're actually using it. They're using the data, all my data, they're using it. So I have to type emails. I started with emails again. Hi, Professor, thank you for the opportunity to work in your lab. That is the time I need money just to survive. So I started talking to people like, I went back to that same lady like, oh, can you speak to Professor, like, Manuel is dying. So after, so at the end of the day, I'm getting paid. I have the experience in the lab, and I can go back to NHS. I'm even going back to test and trace lab next month. So I think I'm having everything to myself at the end of the day. So now, sometimes, gratitude, just don't think about, I was not thinking about now. I was thinking about next time, because if the email this man sent me, like, okay, if they have another funding, they're ready to take on PhD student, I'm like, let me go, like, this is it. No, I'm in the system now, okay? I'm the researcher, I've been a research assistant for like 6-7 months. If they want someone, if they're taking a new PhD student, they have to teach the person everything they taught me. So, but if they have an opening now, like I said, I'm targeting a fund I know they're applying for. You need that fund, like, yeah, it has been approved, but yeah, I'm ready for PhD, So that's how to play your game.
Not only are you getting experience and all, the moment anybody sees University of Cambridge on your CV, they're gonna be like,
what I'm doing,
that candidate, let's talk to him.
If I did not tell you what I'm doing in the lab, like what skills I'm, like whatever I'm doing, there are even simple things you won't know. But I'm answering the research question is actually important, and I'm doing some things in the lab, and that's everything. Like, sometimes I see my connection grew from like maybe 180 in January to 400 plus now. Like, just University of Cambridge. Okay, so you have to think like, what are you getting out of it? So at the end of the day, it's a decision to make. Now, I have friends that actually working, they don't like research. I have friends working in the food industry, like he studied biomedical biotech, and he's working as a quality assurance in a bakery now. And in fact, he's the one that is earning the most of money now. He's earning fat money. So you can actually do it. Like, a lot of opportunity for you. It now depends on what you want. I'm thinking, like, even if I did not get PhD at the end of this particular lab, okay, the experience from this lab, the connection with doctors and professors in the lab, I can always ask them for comment. This is what I need, and that's how I found myself in, and that's it. So you can do it.
Wow, thank you so much. That was like, and I just want to tell you guys in the audience, please don't feel like this is cool story. These are things that, for instance, for me, again, it's about making the important connections. It's now, that someone like Emmanuel is out there. He did this. There was a way that he did it. If you're going to go to the UK, how are you going to, start fixing yourself up with people that can really give you important, impertinent information? Don't, I'm not saying you shouldn't make friends with your friends that you guys went to UK together, but people in the system that understand how things work, that know the mistakes that they made, that they know that if you tweak it like this, you get far better opportunities. These are people that you need to connect with. So I'm going to open the floor now for questions. There's no point of like going into breakout rooms for the next 20 minutes. If anybody has any questions, you can either raise your hand, if you know how to raise your hand, and then I will unmute you and you can ask your question, and then we can call it a day. The time now is 12:07. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys learn? Please put it in the chat. Have you start ticking those boxes. I even realized that when we started, I didn't even introduce myself. So people are just like, who is this random person that is talking to us? But it's okay. Okay, Adejon says that he learned a lot. Does anybody have any questions? Emmanuel, while they are booting, you said something to me about HCPC that people can do in the UK, in Nigeria, before coming to the UK for more opportunities. What is that?
All right. HCPC is Healthcare Profession Council, and this HCPC registration, you need it to get some roles if you are going to the industry, especially in the NHS. Okay, if you want to work, like even with a master's degree, yeah, HCP certification, even with a master's degree, someone that actually had his what's it called, BSc in the UK, get some roles better than yours, better than you, because they have the fundamental. Okay, so I realized a few months back that people actually have this HCPC registration even back from Nigeria. And that's what I was telling you that day. So though, because microbiology, I hope soon things will change in back at home. Like there's nobody that can actually take out. But in case you are here, you're studying something like biomed, I realized that some schools actually that offer biomedical science. It's not so common in southwestern part of Nigeria, but if you study biomedical science, medical lab, what's it called, science, what's it called, what they call it now, MLS. So you can apply for this HCPC registration from home. It's the same thing. All you need to do is they have to assess your degree, just like a transcript. Yes, it takes like 16 weeks, like that's 4 months. They assess your transcript and they check, okay, if you have everything that it takes to be an healthcare practitioner in the UK. So if you have this now, is an addition onto you. While others will be working linear jobs for that 20 hours, you will be doing jobs that actually can improve your CV. And when I realized like there's someone that's actually doing that in this same UK, like came with this HCPC registration from home, then I was like, okay, let me just share it. In case you're out there, you're studying biomedical science, MLS or radiography, you can actually start looking outside the country. Start looking outside the country. Don't limit yourself. Look outside your horizon. Though it might be a bit expensive sometimes, but do it.
What you get out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day,
if you're going for your master's, you can also have your HCPC registration.
Yeah.
Can someone like a microbiologist apply for it?
Exactly. Now, when you get to the UK now, while others are still looking at it, like I have not started mine because I want to use what's it called, my degree to actually apply for that. I know someone that actually applied with microbiology. Soon enough is going to have his HCPC registration, whereas I've not started. So he had that information from January last year. So immediately we got to the UK, after like 2 results, we applied. Okay, that's another thing. When you get to the UK, start asking questions, how can I be HCPC registered? Because when you get that, you'll be able to apply for some jobs like that will earn you better money than anybody that don't have it. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to limit like, okay, master is not good, but because we are coming from another country, so another country, a bit different. You see, what's it called, a BSc, even someone that does not have a degree in a better place job than you are, but how can you bridge the gap fast enough? Is one of these is actually having a HCPC registration as a biology graduate.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? We're not going to breakout rooms, we're staying here. If you have any questions, we will take it. I'll let you unmute and you can ask any questions. So how are you guys feeling about UK, Ireland? Are you going? Do you have more clarity? Are you going to continue struggling with that US that is so difficult? Or are you going to explore and see if you can get 70% discount, get a scholarship and all of that? So people have started raising their hands. I saw Olagunju first, so I'm going to unmute. I'm going to ask you to unmute to ask your question.
Hello.
Tell us about you, like what, where are you? Are you an undergrad? Are you do you have tell us about you and then you can ask your question.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So please, can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Olagunju Abdurrahman. So I'm a final year undergraduate student at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, in Nigeria. So I'm studying physiology. So yes, can I go on?
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Yes, maybe my network broke out the other time, so I was out. So I heard you saying one can apply for from undergrad to PhDs directly also in UK. What I know was it's done in US. So is it in specific schools or is a general thing in UK? So I just want you to expatiate more on that.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, is that all? Okay.
Yeah.
From BSc directly to PhD. Okay. Yeah, it's possible, but you have to apply from home. Okay. Yeah, you have to apply. You don't need to. You might not need to actually write to its professor, but if you can, that's open. You can apply to. You can write to the professor like, okay, I'm interested in your research. Interested in your research, and this is what I want to do. You say yourself properly, type the email. Yeah, you can get into PhD. But like we said the other, like Alima said the other time, most of the time because of limited funding, it's easier actually to transit from masters and PhD than BSc into PhD in the UK, because the system is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit different from the US.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just add to that as well. It is not impossible, it's doable, it definitely happens. But even if you want to apply from Nigeria, I'll suggest you have a proposal ready, because you have to come ready. Like you can't just come and say, give me a PhD, from something you've written and you have funding for. If you have the money to sponsor yourself for a PhD, they will take you on gladly. They're looking for you, they want your money as well, and they'll support you however they can. But if you don't have the money and you're looking for full funding, I'll suggest you have some sort of proposal that they know that you're willing to work on, that they can, work with you on. You're not just coming empty-handed with nothing to offer.
Okay. Sorry, please. So, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Because I emailed a professor in Newcastle University in UK. So we even had a call and she's like ready to accept, but funding. So that was the main issue that I just cut it off. So, but would that proposal be like something like a step up to, because with that bring funding, with that proposal?
So let me verify what you're saying. So did you apply, this professor you were talking to that was willing to admit you, was it for a master's or PhD?
It was for I emailed the professor directly. So he said MPhil, like MRes this degree. So but after we had a call, she even suggested some funding opportunity in their school or something like that. So, but it didn't work out. So the major barrier was funding. So that's what I'm asking. If will the proposal, assuming I have the proposal, will it bring?
Yeah, it can. So let me explain it further. For instance, if they have, for instance, the government of Ireland has funding for specific research and the professor wants to write a proposal towards that funding, and they use your proposal, the one you suggested, and they get the funding for it eventually, they'll most likely call you for that PhD position. Do you understand?
Okay.
So you're the one giving them the idea. You're writing a proposal with them. And if they get the money eventually, they will call you, but they will call you for a master's. They will want you to do a PhD. Obviously, they want more out of it too. If they're getting money from the government, obviously everybody wants to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Abdurrahman, yeah, like we said, unlike Dr. Yetunde, yes, okay, UK and Ireland, I think the system is a bit tight, and what they want is money, and you can actually that is justifiable from the number of people actually coming to the UK. So it might be a bit hard, okay, but people apply for what's it called, Commonwealth and Chevening. Those two particular scholarship schemes actually work for them. So if you apply for that to that scheme, that's fine. Okay. Now, the system, sometimes the fundings are not just available readily until you get into the system and start building your network. That's how I've seen many people. I have two Nigerians in the same lab in the University of Cambridge. Like, I asked them, they came for their masters and they decided to make some connections, and that's how they are in. So UK system is a bit different from the
I think that my take home from this is that, for the most part of it, a lot of people that if you don't get a full scholarship to go to the UK and you end up going to the UK and paying for it, you can really, it's all about you getting value for the school that you paid for. That's the major difference between going to school in the UK. If ease of application is important, where you don't want to have to write professors, you don't want to stress about writing a proposal, you just want to be able to get into the system, get a master's, get further education, and you have, you can spend like what, 5,000-6,000 pounds with the discounts that some of the schools give out. When you come to the UK, how are you going to, I feel like that's what I'm getting from this, is how are you going to make your money work for you? That 6,000 or 7,000 pounds that you spend on your school, you will make
it's like 10,000. No,
yeah,
I'm
no,
missing
I'm
a few
saying,
zeros.
yeah. If I paid like 15,000 pounds, for instance,
Yeah, I
by
pay
the time you are
15,000.
done with your 15, I'm just saying they get the discount or whatever.
Okay,
By the time you're done,
yeah.
By the time you're done, you would have made, that money would have gone to work for you. It's not like you're giving, like Halima said, they want to use you, but you to use them, right? You will make that money work for you. So can you get a scholarship? Yes, you can get a scholarship. You have to keep trying. If you didn't get in the last time, try again. Try the Chevening scholarship. Talk to people that have been through scholarship. Let them, there are so many. Aaron, I don't know if he went, he's like the scholarship.
Aaron, yeah.
thing.
If you can get in contact with Aaron Alariwo, and there are a lot of YouTube videos out
I
there.
didn't even know he had the nickname of Alariwo. I want to tell
Yeah,
you.
Alariwo of scholarship. That man, okay. So if you can get to him and speak, like there are a lot of links out there on YouTube, like people that actually they got funded. I don't know much about Wood scholarship. That's another scholarship, and it's also for this UK. And people are coming in. Nigerians are coming. Like if you have a LinkedIn account, if you don't, open one, start making connection.
Yeah.
Read
Send people messages on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
like they reply.
Recently that someone just slid into his DM on LinkedIn and was like, "Sir, I'm applying to this scholarship. I know that you've talked a lot about it. I've written my proposal. Before I submit, can you just help me take a look?" And I don't know what happened in between the back and forth, but the next thing we saw was, "Oh, I got in. I'm going to the UK. Free of charge or whatever." Now you have to be able to make that distinction, because those scholarship people, they sometimes have their clauses where they're like, immediately you're done, maybe you can't even do post-study or whatever. You now have to be able to do your research and be like, wait, what's more important to me, getting this scholarship, getting the master's degree and going away, or me paying the money and finding how I'm going to make important connections in Cambridge and NHS for 2 years, so that even if I go away, I'm going to be able to get a job afterward. Yeah, Aaron, he came here to talk on that was the very first one, the Australia one.
Abdurrahman, like I even read like last week on Aaron's LinkedIn account, like I'm even reading it again. Like someone during NYSC started applying using, like he did not even speak with Aaron. Aaron had a lot of videos, past videos. This man watched it, this particular person watched it, and he's coming to the UK this September on a fully funded master's degree. So, that's it. So, like, if you can check this person on LinkedIn, look all his YouTube channel. He have a lot of, like, I watched some hours yesterday also, like, he had hours of videos on how to get the fully sponsored through the Chevening and the Commonwealth, scholarship. I think Aaron also, I think 2015, he said he's actually one of the, beneficiary of Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Scholarship.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So
I hope that has helped you. We're going to go to another person. Bright at some point had his hand raised up. Bright, do you still want to ask your question? I don't know if you're still here. Or did your question somehow get answered? But there's someone asking in the chat, Oluwa Folakemi says that she's studying cell and molecular genetics. Can she apply for HCPC certification?
Apparently, while you're at home, you might not be able to apply. But when you get to the country, you're already in the country, you can apply. And it depends, you can also, with cell and molecular genetics can apply to many schools, many different, it can even apply to biomed and everything and make it.
Okay, perfect. Right, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, thank you very much, the collaborators and the anchor for a nice work. But myself, I know that there are two kinds of assistantship. Actually, I'm very much interested in the US, by the way. I know that there are research assistantships and then teaching assistantships. But the anchor emphasized that for you to get research assistantship, that you have to reach out to the professor, because the professors are mostly the people who have jurisdiction over the funding. But if I'm very much interested in in teaching assistantship, like teaching the undergrad, maybe for a stipend, would it still be necessary to reach out to the professors? Please, I need your advice.
Are you talking about US or UK and Ireland?
The US.
You didn't come last week. We are finding you for that one.
Let me answer the question to some extent, Yetunde. So teaching assistantship is a thing over here. It is, but I won't call it assistantship because they see it as them doing you a favor, but I see it as slavery. Like, no offense. They see it as, them giving you some sort of experience. So, because I went there to ask that, sorry, please, why aren't we being paid for these things? Like, we're taking time out of our, research to teach for you guys. And the man with his full chest said that, we're doing you guys a favor, we're giving you experience for free. I didn't ask for the experience, but they've put it there. There's a clause in there that if you're a PhD student, you have to do these things for, maximum hours or whatever. And I'm like, why? So there's no form of teaching. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
it is important, but I believe we still deserve some, stipend, like some sort of, what would I call it?
Well, they don't pay you guys for teaching.
No, it's part of the PhD program.
Ah.
The UK.
Only if you do extra hours. Yeah, only if you do extra hours, then yeah. But how many extra hours do I want to do? I have other things.
You have your original work that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I've never heard that anybody is it possible? So the way it works out for me, no. When you do, let me tell you, there are two different kinds of professors in the US. And again, this thing is relative. So I cannot tell you this is how it works, because different situations, different dynamics, they can make things, depending on what they want out of you, they can twist it for it to work for you. So two things, there are two types of professors here. Professors that are very rich and professors that are not so rich. When I say they are rich, they have a lot of funding. In fact, when they get PhD students, their PhD students are earning more than us that are students of professors that are not all that rich, but they try to create a balance. And those that are students, they don't do teaching assistantships. So it is up to the professor, because at the end of the day, you are getting a degree. If the school you are applying to stipulate that to be able to get in, you have to be able to reach out to a professor who wants to mentor you, that's a clear indication that you have to get that's a clear indication to you that it is the professor that is going to sponsor you. In that case, it is what the professor wants. So for instance, the way my professor was my mentor, he called dibs on me. If PhD students are required to teach, but which course am I teaching is up to my professor, because he's the one paying me. So he can call dibs on me and say, if he's teaching food microbiology, for instance, or cell and molecular biology, he can write to the department and say, Yetunde is not available to teach general micro this semester. She's going to take my class, because my professor knows me, he trusts me, we can talk and all of that. So he has dibs on me. And, he's the one that is paying me, even though, I'm teaching. Do you understand? So it just depends. Another thing that happened when I got into graduate school as a PhD student, I was on a research assistantship. So I was doing cancer research, but my advisor left. She was about to leave the school. And when she left, she was going with her funding, because she was the one paying me. So at the end of the day, I was in a fix where I'm like, okay, my advisor is going. I don't have any other mentor. What am I going to do? Are they going to ask me to go back to Nigeria? Then the department adopted me and said, okay, don't worry, you are on full teaching assistantship until you can get a professor. Tell a professor that the department is the one funding you, so that you can just start doing your research. But while you're doing your research, you have to be able to teach for 20 hours a week. So it just depends. But I don't think that it depends on the school. There are some schools that you don't even have to reach out to any professor or anything. You just have to apply, and they just have a program where they're like, okay, in the first year, the PhD students are going to go and teach. During the remaining 4 years, they're going to do lab rotations. While they're doing lab rotations, they can decide who they want to work with. That's a complete, so it just depends. The dynamics are different, but generally, you cannot be writing to professors and say, professor, I'm passionate about teaching. All I just want to do in this my PhD is learn how to teach. No, that's not how it works. The way it works is PhD is about research. Are you going to teach? It depends on the professor. There are some professors that are like, my student is busy, I don't want them to teach. And even if they're going to teach, they're teaching my classes. And there are some professors that are like, I have money to pay you for research, but while school is not in session, maybe during the summer, you have to be teaching extra classes and the department will pay you for that. So generally speaking, no, you don't always write professors to say, professor, I just want teaching assistantship. I don't want research assistantship. No. The fact that you're writing to a professor is a clear indication that you need funding, and it means that if they're going to be paying you money, they're going to be paying you money to do research, not to teach. Do you understand? Because that's how they're able to report back to the agencies to get more money to fund the program, if that answers your question. Right, did that answer your question? Put it in the chat. Okay, okay, great. All right, Adejuwon, you have a question. I'm going to ask you to mute. We can hear you.
Okay, I just want to ask about publication.
We can't hear you.
Now, I want to ask about publication. I want to go about publication as an undergraduate.
What's your question?
So I was like, the thing is, normally, the other man, I can't remember his name, so he said something about writing publications as an undergraduate that to give you an edge when you get into graduate school. So normally, I've always wanted to have a publication before the end of my 4th year.
I'm really struggling. Yeah, is it me or can everybody? Are you sure? Can you hear him, Halima?
No.
But I think I remember your question from the chat is
About publication during undergrad.
yeah, about publication.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my question is here's my question. So the other man said something. I can't remember his name. So he said something about making having publications that to give you an edge. Though I've always wanted to have a publication. I've always wanted to publish a paper before my 4th year in either a local or international journal, but I don't really know how to go about it. So I wanted to ask if there's anything we might need to know, or no, just have an idea on how it's done. That's just my question.
Okay, great. You said you want to publish a paper. You want to publish it. So should I take a crack at it, or do you guys want to go for it?
No, go ahead, Yetunde.
So you want to have a publication before your 4th year, but all you're taking right now is coursework, right? You're not going, publication means that you have research that you're reporting to the world, the body of science, that, I have done this research, here are my findings, this is what it's going to do for me and all of that. I'm not saying that you can't do it. It's so great that you're doing this, but what you need to start doing now is to go and start developing connections. I don't know what school you attend. Go and start developing connections with your professors and go and start talking to them. Maybe you can even start working as the assistant of some of the 4th year students or the master students that are in your school, where you go and just talk to the professor, any professor that you like, that you think is doing great. Remember what we talked about last week in Nigeria about selecting great mentors, where you know that this mentor, like their level of thinking is not on the same level as other mentors that are just there to waste your time. How can a mentor be in school and be like, under my watch, you will not graduate. It means that they don't even care about their own career, because as a professor, for their career to, they should understand that for their career to grow depends on your career also growing. So those are the type of professors that you can now start looking into and being like, oh, professor, I've been hearing a lot about my career as a person, maybe, young or mid-level professors, or even old professors that are doing great. I've been hearing about the importance of how to be more successful, the way that I can go about it. I want to start getting research experience. I want to be able to publish, I want to learn how to write before my third year, before my fourth year. I know that you have some master's students. Is there a way that during my maybe break time or holiday or whatever, in between the school hours, maybe 3 hours in a week, can I come to the lab and be watching the master students and the PhD students and helping them in their tasks, And Emmanuel can relate to this. He said, while you were an undergrad, you were working with some master students. Am I correct, Emmanuel? Yeah, so you can be working with the master students or the PhD students that are within your school, where you're like, and you'll be looking for professors that have a great track record of publishing, whereby they're not just doing the research for just doing sake. They are doing it so that they can publish in international journals of great repute. So you will go and meet with them and you go and talk to them, Professor, this is who I am. I like this, I like that. I'm passionate about this type of research. Or you may not even be passionate about, all you need is your name on the paper. And your name cannot get it on a paper if you have not done a significant portion of the research. So while you're in school right now, if you want to do it before your fourth year, now is the time for you to start creating that rapport with your professor and start working with their graduate students and start seeing, these are things that if I had known, these are things that we would have done too. And just be like, let me work with you, or you want to do a PCR, teach me how to do a PCR. Eventually, by the time maybe you've done that for 1 year, they will just be like, Adejumo, are you free? While I'm doing this, while I'm running the gel, you'll be doing another PCR on the side. At the end of the day, they will put your name on the paper when it is time to get. But, and you said something about, can I teach about writing? Why am I going to teach you about writing if you don't have a research that, that you want to publish? If you're in that process, and this is something that I'm still going to do with people, but to just teach you how to write, but I can't teach you something that you're not going to practice at the end of the day. Do you understand? It's like, I'm teaching you how to write, but you're not going to write anyways. If you are in the pipeline of writing, then we can now sit down together and now be like, okay, this is how you write, this is how you write as a scientist and things like that. So I think that's the practical way to do it. I don't know if you guys have any other thing to say.
Yeah, I'll just add, use somebody else's story to encourage you. Like, I met a girl I met at the bus stop. She's Nigerian. She came here for her undergrad, and she told me that, since she got into the university, every summer holiday, she worked in somebody's lab in the department. So she, for my 100 level, like, imagine, I was so jealous. I was like, I wish I did that. What did I spend my summer holidays doing? Nothing. Pressing phone. So imagine I was traveling to the UK for holidays rather than going there to actually get some sort of internship. Do you understand? So these things nobody will tell you. Like, it's really hard to think about until you hear somebody else's story. So for my first year, so she had like 4 years of experience, like approximately, but like from every summer holiday, she worked in somebody else's lab. She got paid for it as well. Imagine. So after undergrad, she worked as a research assistant for a year, and the guy decided to keep her on for a PhD. She didn't have to do a master's degree. So use your summer holidays wisely, please.
Yeah,
don't be like me.
It's that also. Take on paid internship. Okay. Yeah, like unpaid. Like, yeah, pick it up. Like, I know junior college back then, she has a lot of public. Like, I think she has like 2, 3 now, and she's yet to get into grad school. Okay, I think she went to something research back in Lagos, and that's where she was just there helping them, and her name is just reflecting on their past. And
yeah,
that's it. So
that's it. And you might not, all you might just be doing is making a gel, casting a gel, running a gel. So take unpaid internship. It might not even be in your school. It might be maybe, you imagine, you guys, let me even just, from that very first webinar that we did, there was a girl that now, I think she has already gotten a master's position at ASGID. So now, you can just go and just do unpaid internships. Just the people like free labor. Do you understand? There are some people that they might ask you to pay and all that. So just go even if you can't, then you cannot identify any professor in your school that you think has a great publication record, who is willing to mentor you and things like that. You can go for unpaid internships in all these places, in research institutes that have a good record of publishing as well. Just go, learn, do the things, do the PCR, do the gel, do the, ELISA, whatever. Go and learn it and be involved in their research. And before you know it, they can, you get publications. So yes, it's great that you're thinking in this way. This is the best time to think about it, but don't just sit on it. Start actively working towards it. Start talking to professors. When you're on holidays, what are you doing with your holidays? Are you going back to school? If you like that professor and they're doing really great things, for instance, if Ezekiel was doing something great that I could have my name on it, do you think I will not be spending my summer holiday at home? I'll just maybe spend 3 weeks, go back, to school, see if there's a way that I can be working during the summer to get my name on publication as an undergrad. So, great that you're doing this, but this is, I think, the best way for you to go about it. You're welcome. Christopher, maybe this is going to, anybody has any more questions about UK, Ireland? Ask, don't come and, they will not ask that question and they'll not come and slide into my DM on Instagram. They will not write long early. And as I said, why did you just ask me while we were there? Anyways, you can always talk to me, but ask your questions. Don't be shy. Christopher, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Sorry, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. I've really learned a lot. Now, I want to ask if I have some bioinformatics skills already and I want to see how I can publish a paper. So how do I get a reputable journal to publish with?
Okay, so are you an undergrad?
No, a postgraduate student.
You are a post, so what does that mean? Masters?
Yes, masters.
PhD. So you have a master's degree?
No, I'm a master's degree student.
Yeah, a master's degree student. You have, do you guys want to jump on it or should I jump on it? You are the guest now.
Yeah, I can, say
Okay.
something on that.
Okay.
I presume you have a supervisor,
Yes,
So-
I do.
Yeah, talk to your supervisor, but these guys know these things. They know what journal to publish. They know these people. They know the editors, to be honest. Talk to your supervisor, propose that I want to publish this data, blah, blah, blah. Is the data enough? Is it good enough? Can you help review this paper? What is the process like? I published my first author paper a few weeks ago, and I had no idea what to do. I'm a PhD student. We learn along the way. It's never too late to learn. And I had somebody showing me click this, click that. Put this, put that. You need a cover letter. I never knew you needed a cover letter to publish a paper. You need a cover letter. You need to propose, reviewers for your paper. Your supervisors know all these things. They've done it multiple times. So talk to your supervisor. The fact that you're proposing it to your supervisor shows how serious you are about the research. So propose it to your supervisor and they know what to do. They know what journals to publish in.
Yeah, and I'm also assuming that your professor, I feel like as a researcher, someone who is mentoring graduate students, they also should have a goal in their mind, because it's not only on you. I wouldn't say, because what Halima said is so important. You don't want to go on your own tangents and say you're going to figure it out on your own. You're going to publish it without your professor's input. They were the ones that mentored you, outside of that. So I don't know what I know that with Nigeria, some advisors are really tricky, but I want to believe that your advisor would be a person that they're not just doing the research for research sake. They're doing it by informatics. They're doing it so that they can publish it, they can get it out there, and their career will grow. So always, that's always at the end of the day. And if this is something, an ongoing conversation that you keep on having with your mentors, what is the end goal of this research? We are going to publish it, how do you select a journal? What are you proposing? The bioinformatics result that you got, is it something that is pertaining to cancer? Is it something that is pertaining to bacterial diseases, viral diseases? Is it a vaccine type of bioinformatics project? These are the different dynamics that will help you select what journal. I cannot just tell you spit out one journal at the end of the day that this is what you should do. No, it depends on the type of research. Different journals have different things that they would normally publish. Maybe they want, there's some journals that are very, very specific, like Halima publishes some of our papers in the journal of meat or something, because it works with sausages. So these are the little, you go for journals that are that are calling you, that have, the criteria that you are ready to give out based off of that. I wanted to say something else. You have to look for, you cannot just also publish in anyhow journals. Journals have their impact factors, right? What is the quality of your research? Different, because you might apply there now and they might say they're sorry, they cannot accept your publication. They are also free now, I've heard, because publication you have to pay for it. Are you going to pay out of pocket? And it's not cheap. I remember,
Is the university going to cover the cost? Some universities have contracts.
Exactly, the professor going to cover the cost. There are also now all these freelance publication journals that are now open to the public, where if you don't want to spend that type of money temporarily, you can just put your research. You have to write it, obviously, the way that they want. It's called bioRxiv. I don't know if you guys know about it. They are basically, a lot of people are doing it now, where you have your research, you write it in a great way. You're not just doing anyhow. You make sure it's it's error free and all of that. And then it's not peer reviewed, but you publish it there. It's out there, and people start citing it as well. But it's out there, even though you didn't publish it in a peer reviewed. So these are the different dynamics that.
Another thing you can do that I did on my own is do a quick Google search and just do bioinformatics journals and open them one by one. You see their scope and what they are looking for. Some of them it can be a journal of bioinformatics, but it might not, what you're researching, it might not be within scope. So you don't want to waste your time to just send a paper and they just reply you and say, sorry, it's out of scope. Like, why waste my time then to some, do you understand? So I submitted my first paper a few weeks ago, like I said, and the journal I submitted it to, my research was definitely within scope, but they replied that it was out of scope for no reason. So sometimes these things happen. Just on to the next. Like, that doesn't mean your research is not good.
Right.
On to the next. Keep it moving. Fast.
A lot too. So that's just how it works.
Yeah. Abraman actually asked him to send a message of his next question so that we can end this session up. So I want to say it out loud to anybody that wants to get.
No, he even messaged me too that he wants to let me. So is he the same person, Olagunju Abdulrahman?
Yes. Yeah. So the question is, can it contact a doctor, a professor from an institute? I did the research. The institute is in London. Yeah, the Cancer Institute. So if you get a doctor or a professor email on that website or on their site, you can actually contact the person about their research that you are interested in getting along with them. But another thing is, most of this institute, the question is, are they affiliated to some schools? Yeah, some of the, some research actually funded by these institutes. So they're actually affiliated, some are affiliated to some schools. They have specific schools that they are affiliated to. I have some friends also, even the same Northern friends, they abandoned the here and they've started their PhD because their professor has a funding on grant. There's money on grant, okay? So, and all this money is actually from this. It might be from all these institutes. Okay, so that's how it works. But there's nothing stopping you from actually contacting anybody. It's just an email well crafted, asking them, "Oh, I'm interested in this," and those are things I did not do then, and it's actually affecting. But now, I'm sending emails in just last week. I received emails from people and they're telling me, "Oh, sorry, I don't have a funding at this moment." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." But I'm making connection with you, just keep sending me. So that's right.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. But yeah, absolutely right. So I work for New York State Department of Health, and people that work here are also affiliated with one university. So at the end of the day, if you end up going to the university, if you end up getting admission in the university, you end up coming to work as a PhD student at New York. Do you get? So they are always affiliated like that. So if you want to reach out to people that work at research institutes, most likely they're always affiliated with the university, and that might just be a good way for you as well. So yeah, definitely. Any other questions, or are we ready to go? Did you guys learn? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Let's know, let's hear before if nobody has any questions, then we're going to go. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad. You know, the whole point of this again is for you to be able to know the pros and cons, what's more important to you, scholarship or working after, getting a professor, getting stipend, all of those different things. You don't want to worry about getting a job on campus. Like for instance, now I didn't have to get, people that came to study public health, they had to worry about getting an on-campus employment while they were in school, but I didn't have to worry about that. Everything was already taken care of. So the whole point of this is to expose you to possibilities that are out there so that you're not suffering unnecessarily in a place that that is not really budging or responding to you, and to also know etiquette. How do you talk to people? You know, making important connections when you should start, so that you don't make the same mistakes that we made. That's the whole point of this. We're wishing you the best of luck as you go to grad school as biologists or life scientists. Thank you so much for joining us. For those people that have never met me before, my name is Dr. Yetunde Adeomi. I just started saying bio just to help people, biologists, undergraduates, recent graduates that are grasping at straws at the things that they need to do before they go to, you know, when they graduate from college, so that you don't end up deciding, because you spent 4 years in school, why do you want to give up on your degree if you're passionate about it, simply because things are not working out in Nigeria? So just to highlight what people are doing to you, we've had about 8 speakers. You've seen people from different parts of the world working at great research institutes, great universities, doing amazing things, you know, for you to be able to aspire to perspire. For you to be able to know that these things are also possible for you as well. No man is an island. And Halima can testify to that. You know, it's not, you don't have to be the smartest student in class for you to be a PhD, you know, candidate at the end of the day. So there's nothing that you cannot do. You can make it as a biologist, regardless of what you studied in school. You just have to expose yourself to the opportunities, start talking to people. No, and when things are not working out, move on to the next best thing. If US is not, don't you? And Halima, you can attest to this as well. What happened to you? Did you ever try somewhere else, or was Ireland the first?
This was part of my gist that you didn't let me give on time. If people are still on here, so what happened was yesterday, myself and another friend of ours were planning to write GRE and go to America together as per 3 Musketeers. And we all went for the same lesson. We paid for our exams. Yesterday was the first to write. Our friend was the second. I was the third person to write, because I'm like, you guys just go and do your own first. I'll come back and tell me, you know, how it was. So I think the days were like a few days in between. Yesterday went for hers, and she was like, it was hard, it was this, was that. Okay, next person. And a day before hers, we just get an email that, sorry, GRE has been cancelled. Yesterday, I've not written my I'm like, why? We tried to find out why it was cancelled. When will it be back? When can we get our date? They said till further notice. Till today, we never got our refund, just so you know, yesterday. And this was in 2013, before NYC. And at that point, we're like, we can't do GRE. We can't go to the US. What is next? And I remember I started, looking for alternatives. I said, Ireland was my next option. The other friend went to the UK. So like, don't just wait for US to come and meet you. Like, I knew US was definitely my first option, but once I saw that I couldn't write GRE and we did not know when we were going to write GRE, I moved on to the next. Don't wait.
So, and this is another important, what we started immediately after we graduated. I think our graduation was in May or
June 2013.
Whatever, and we had already started our GRE lessons. So we're not waiting until we were in a bad spot, when it fixed. We already,
and why? And how did we start GRE lessons? Yetunde was going to do GRE, and she said, you people come and do GRE with me, because we had a friend like Yetunde that was very enthusiastic and very, very, what's the word? What would I describe you? But Yetunde was so booky and interested in doing our research, and so like, you people can just be my friends and be chilling. We are doing this thing together. Hence, we decided we live very close. We went to classes every day together. We picked each other up at the bus stop and we went to class together. We went back home together. We read together. Like, it was something we did together because we were friends, and we had that connect. And we all knew that we wanted to succeed together as friends. So having people in your corner that are willing to do, sometimes I almost gave up at something. I'm like, this thing is too hard. Yesterday, and my other friend was like, it's a lie. You will learn this maths. Is it maths and English? You will learn it. So having people in your corner.
Make impactful friends. And that's, their own situation is different from mine. Everybody were just on our own. And that actually slow us down to some extent. So, but as you are now, look at people around you. like the people have information. So the more the information you have determines how far you go and how fast you're going to go. If you don't have this information, like I said, I was just coming to the like from a secondary school teacher to the UK. Okay, so I have no friends like that will actually support me. But you guys, you have a lot. I think this is third section you're attending, and it's wonderful. I think I have all this section also back while I was in undergrad or after during NYC or something. Oh God, maybe things will have been. So
yeah, and also I didn't know anything as well. I had a mentor. I had my brother who was already exposed. He had traveled everywhere. And he said, Yetunde, if you want to be successful as a microbiologist, do this, do this, do this, do this. The information I was getting from him was what I was filtering out to Halima and our other friend, where I was like, they said, do this, do this, do this. Let's go and do GRE after graduation. So we studied together. We would go to each other's houses. So your friends are important. You don't keep friends that, you are most likely to end up doing this thing called peer pressure. It won't be your face like peer pressure. There's also peer influence, good influence, right? So it won't always be in your face like that. If you have a friend that is like, oh man, I'm going to KPMG after graduation, that's great. We're not saying you shouldn't do that, but we're just saying that the people you surround yourself with will most likely have an effect on the path, on your career path. So I said, okay, we're going to America. This is what I'm doing. What people's plan? They said, let's go, should be America. Okay, let's do the job. So we all did. I did it. And then all of a sudden they canceled it. And we were about to go for our NYC. And the idea was that we wanted to do our NYC before we wanted to do our GRE before the NYC, but then they canceled it and all of that. Anyways, talk to friends, make impactful friends, talk to people. Mentors are important. Talk to your professors that are doing great things at school. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, and things will work out for you. There's no how that things will work out for you.
Someone said they didn't get your surname. Our surname is Adewumi.
Oh, sorry. My name is Yetunde. Let me put it in the chat. Who's asking? My name is Yetunde Adewumi. I have a PhD in cell and molecular biology. I graduated in 2019. I'm a research scientist at New York State Department of Health. I work, I can tell you my whole spiel. So I do vaccine development research, where I test the potency and the efficacy of vaccines on bacterial pathogens, toxins, viruses, before they are ready to be put out in the marketplace for commercial use. So that's kind of what I do for a living. I'm also very passionate about people getting their act together, getting their stuff straight. I don't take nonsense. The people that I mentor in school, I've mentored people who are now in medical school, people who are in their fourth year PhD programs, people who are nurses, just because, we've had time together. I'm mentoring an undergrad today in the lab as well on vaccine development research. So outside of this, I'm actually a scientist. I do great research. I analyze data. I make awesome graphs. I write well. I also speak well. I've won, and I'm not being proud, I've won like 8 awards for speaking, for just speaking about my research and being passionate. So I'm very passionate about biology. I'm very passionate about microbiology, and I just want people to see that there is magic here. And that's why I started saying bio, so that people can, so to just let you have all the information, get exposed, see what people are doing, so that you're not just about class, finishing with a first class. That's important, but what do you do with your degree afterward? That's what we're all about. Stay in bio. But I'm putting my name in the chat so that you can know me. I realized that I didn't introduce myself, and that's because this is like the third session. So thank you guys. Thank you, Halima, for joining. Thank you, Emmanuel. We're going to have one more session in August. It's going to be about Canada. So for people who are interested in going to Canada as well, or you just want to hear about the opportunities that are available to you, you should definitely join that session. That will be the last one, and we'll call it a day, and hopefully you'll be able to get a lot of this. And then I want to encourage you, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you feel like you can't do it, I'm going to actually do something. Faith and I will work together. We'll create a comprehensive summary for you, where you're like if you have money for tuition, go to UK. If you want to go, if you don't want to advise, if you don't mind reaching out to any advisor, go to US. If ease of application is more important to you, go to Taiwan and all of that. So we'll have that comprehensive summary for you so that you have it like a notebook or a note card, and then by the time you graduate or by the time you're ready to make your decision, you know what you want to do. Thank you guys for joining. Yes, I will send you the recording for the first session in USA. Should we give him, you ginger me? Abdurrahman is saying that, can he have the recording of USA? If you were on the mailing list, you should have the recording. I sent it to people that registered. So if you registered, you should have it. Check your email.
Maybe it's a new member.
You may not have it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent it yesterday. You should definitely.
So what you can do, maybe send all the links again.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll pack everything up together because people started now registering after, more people registered after we started. So I'll send it to you. Don't worry. You'll have everything. Thank you, everybody. The meeting is now over. Thank you, Halima. Thank you, Emmanuel. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
I know that you guys are going to go far. And me too.
All right. Wish you all the best. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
You back come again. These are the ones that don't want to leave. Leave. Go. Go. I'm ending the meeting now if nobody has any more questions. You're welcome. Madia, why are you sad? You're not leaving. Uche. Uche, do you want to stay on the line? We can talk afterwards. And let me stop recording before they hear my craziness. Yeah.